going to go with the intro. Retro Rip. Did it work? Have we worked? Have we got things working?
Wait, that's
no.
Yeah, okay,
that's the game.
On.
Hang on.
AJ's already here. Great. Okay, no special intro, but that's all right.
There you go. Boom. How about that? Yes, we're on. Are we working? Are we live? Is it working, Drew? Are we online? Are we on the
Sure,
internet?
why not?
It might be working. Right?
Yes.
I give it a,
Can everyone see us and hear us?
Not enough, AJ. 3 stars.
There we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Get Good. We're back. We're only 17 minutes late, which means we're early. You notice?
Yeah, it's barely even half an hour late, so we did pretty well.
I have a new microphone stand, so I can just do this whenever I want.
So
we're going to introduce
Todd over there. Hi, Todd.
Yeah, make the introduction, Liam.
Okay, that's Todd. Hi. Above you is Drew.
Oh,
and then the main event. AJ, say hello.
Hi. It took me forever to realize to mute you on YouTube. I was hearing like 100 of all of you. So I was like, what is happening?
Yeah. You can actually pop out the chat and you can just get rid of the YouTube stream. If you go to the chat, there's like 3 dots. If you just click on those 3 dots and click pop out chat, and then
I have a horrible feeling that chat's going to just send you a long series of requests to say things like Harrison Ford.
I get that.
I mean, I might just request that. I mean,
I was going to say,
yeah.
I'd say you need to teach me how to do it better, Harrison Ford. That's going to be one of my challenges.
Okay.
But then you're like, nah, because I don't want you to.
Are we all coming through clearly? I just want to talk tech for a sec. Are we coming through clearly? Are we loud enough? Because I'm like sitting here and we're like, I bet everyone's going to be like, we can't hear someone. Because AJ was a little quiet. Hello, Mace.
Should I turn up? I can turn up more.
Oh, yeah. That's nice. Okay, that's a little better for me.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's delicious.
Yeah, that's strong.
Yeah.
He's got a proper VO. So look how professional he looks compared to the rest of us chumps.
My little insane asylum.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like Jared Leto.
It's in his entire house. All right, do you want to just do a little intro, AJ? We'll hand it over to you. Take the show, and you can say where you're from, what you love, how'd you get into the biz,
what color?
What are you known for?
All the things.
Where I'm from and what I love. Okay, hi, AJ. I'm from New Jersey. I feel like it's the first day of class. So
cute. I'll eat my soup while you talk.
Please do. Let's see. I guess I'm known for Marty McFly. That's how me and Liam met.
That's how we met. That's crazy.
We fell in love.
I'm staying in LA. I'm staying with the guy who also met you, Ben. I don't know if you remember a redheaded kid who is deeply in love with Marty McFly. And yeah, so I'm staying at his place. So it's like this weird connection across this one party we did.
Yeah,
that's crazy. How many people could say they met at the Enchantment Under the Sea dance? That's pretty.
What is the
wild.
Enchantment Under the Sea dance? Tell me about that.
Oh my god,
he doesn't do any research. I'm sorry.
The dance where George McFly and Lorraine fall in love, and and Back to the Future. They did a remake of, or how would you describe that?
They did a movie, Todd, in the 80s, Back to the Future, which is pretty famous. It involves an old man, Doc Brown.
Top Gun?
Doc Brown.
Yeah, Top Gun, yeah. They're Back to the Future Mavericks about to come out. It's going to be great.
Back to the Future Maverick.
Looks like you've just got a big bowl of cereal.
We got soup.
Okay. Todd eats like he's a Brad Pitt in a movie.
Dude, we just got soup from Great Piccadini. I'm eating soup, and we just got soup.
On YouTube, we occasionally get gifted soup, which is a form of monetary chicken soup for the soul.
A little love.
Like to say thank
a little
you
love, a little financial love.
Yeah. Todd is the Brad Pitt of Get Good, which is frankly better than being the real Brad Pitt, I think.
Exactly. Thank you.
Have you ever had to play Brad Pitt, AJ?
No. Wow. They don't. He does all his own stunts, his own voice matches.
Does he?
I don't know. I don't know who does Brad Pitt stuff. Honestly, he doesn't. I don't never see any auditions for that guy.
You know who does a good Brad Pitt is the Walking Dead guy.
Ross.
Marquand. Yeah.
Marquand. Yeah.
No way.
He an incredible Brad Pitt. Yeah.
Oh my god! Wait, have you seen it recorded?
Like, I mean, it obviously sounds like Brad Pitt, but I'm like, wait.
Yeah, we had him on an episode with Nolan, and he ran through a couple. He did Brad Pitt and John Malkovich, and he just crushed it.
Oh, I would love. So that's on CouchSoup, is it, Drew? You want to do a little plug?
Yeah. You can check that episode out. Ross, just Google Ross Marquand Nolan North retro replay. It'll show. It'll show up.
I feel like that. Like that's an approachable voice. John Malkovich is something I'm like, I could put the work in and get there. I feel
he's got something you could sort of hang your hat on. Like he's got. It's John Malkovich. He's got sort of a right. He talks a little like this. I don't know him that well, but he does have kind of this sort of quality. Yeah. There's something to Whereas like Brad Pitt, what is he even? He just kind of talks like a guy. Yeah, he's just a guy, which is the hardest kind of voice to do.
Right.
Yeah, but he does have that certain particular tone about him. Like as soon as you hear him. It's more of a tonal thing for him rather than like a voice pattern, I would imagine. Does that make sense? You know, I think if you heard him, I want to hear his recreation now. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, totally. It's interesting when people pick like impressionists when they pick up on something that you're like, oh, I didn't even realize, that actor did that. That's such that is what's so fascinating about watching impressions is those one or two things. Like if you're watching SNL or something and someone does an impression of someone that seems normal, you're like, oh, they do touch their forehead or their temple all the time. You're like, oh.
And it's funny how much that affects the actual acts, like the sound. Like it's so many good impressionists, they have a kind of you're like, wow, he sits like he does. Like a good Pacino, you can do a good Pacino, but if you do a good Pacino and you look like you're being Pacino, it just it comes out better.
Yeah, it's the whole body. It's like when you watch a jazz musician or a blues musician, they're using their whole body when they're playing a solo. If they just sat there and did this, you'd be like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah, that's so true. How did you get into the game, AJ? Like, what was the initial thing that sort of pulled you into VO stuff?
The metaphorical game, so voiceover in general.
Yeah.
Physical. I weirdly was Back to the Future. I heard that they were doing a Back to the Future game, and I called up the game company and left a message as Marty McFly.
You
have to be kidding me.
No, that's how I got into VO. It's pretty nuts. Like
no way.
Yeah, Telltale Games they weren't big at the time. Like,
so
I literally just looked at a list of people and I called up the accountant Rhoda, who I still owe my voice career to this day. Where I just was like, "Hey, my name is AJ LoCascio. I do a good Marty McFly. I mean, and I just like this is my density." And so they called me up and were like, hey, that was really good. Like apparently she took the voicemail and like showed it to everyone in the office, and then they emailed me and was like, hey, can you audition? I was like, sure. So I did. I was shocked that they responded, and I didn't hear anything back for 3 months. Just happened to move out to LA because my roommate or a friend of mine needed a roommate. And like a week after I got here, I got a call that was like, can you audition one more time? It's between you and one other dude. And I was like, what?
No.
Like, you guys remember me? And they were like, yeah, just do this audition. So I did. And they were like, all right, you got it. And I was like, what? So,
no way.
Yeah, it's a completely insane story.
Could be one of the best
so you moved
stories.
To LA because somebody needed a roommate, and that was like, was that your job at the time?
That was one of my friends from college was like, I need a roommate. You want to move out to LA? And I was like, well, I'm clinically depressed. I should probably change my scenery. So I moved out there as a chance to like, see something else. Yeah,
LA's a great way to help your depression.
Yeah, man, it is
the town of the year.
Yeah, exactly. When you're in a bad mood, LA is rough. So
that I'm not gonna lie, that could be one of the best stories I've ever heard. That's hard to beat. Yeah. So you literally went like through the fucking phone. Can we say fuck on this channel?
Yeah.
We've been here for a couple of years.
And a lot of other things.
Yeah, okay, sweet. You've been through literally the phone book. Like, how? What did you just Googled?
How
like,
did you get Rhoda's phone number?
It was just on their website. I just
Rhoda,
went to like
hey, how you doing? It's Rhoda. Take the story for me.
I wish. It's just very normal sounding human being. It's so funny when I met her in person. She was just like, you owe me your career or whatever. It was, she was like, I got you your career. I was like, yes, you did, and I owe you for the rest of my life. Just very sweet.
So what did you do for her in return? Do you want to talk about it?
Nothing. I just bring her up every time I have an interview or someone goes, how did you get into this? So I get to bring up her name. But
that's amazing.
Yeah, I literally just went on their website. That was it. And there was a list of contacts on the website. And so I just was like, I don't know, I'll call the first one. And so I did. It didn't say who everyone was. So it just so happened that she was nice enough to then take that.
That's
and
amazing.
They even played it for Christopher Lloyd and Bob Gale. Like apparently they just played my voicemail. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
This is getting nuts.
I know. It's very strange.
Do you know how long ago was this? Like, give me the time frame.
11 years ago.
Yeah,
so what did you say?
I believe I literally just said like, hey, my name is AJ LoCascio. I saw the Back to the Future game. I did this all as Marty. So I was like, I saw that there's a Back to the Future game, and I think it's my density to do this game. So if you can give me a call, I think that'd be pretty heavy. So like just throwing as much Back to the Future stuff as I could into it. And I was like, there's no way they're gonna call me, but like I'm not an actor, I'm not known. Good. So like I have nothing to be embarrassed about.
Like,
can I just tap into something what you just did then as well? You guys literally just talked. What's the difference? Like, why do people, like when they're recreating the voice, like the Brad Pitt thing, what would be the difference? And as soon as you tapped into his voice, you physically changed. So that's
you
that's
have
the key.
to. That's an interesting. I didn't even think about it. My dad used to do like an impression of Elvis when he was younger, and he does impressions of like different people. But he would always say, we had this weird moment where I was like, when I do an impression, I imagine I have their face, which sounds strange, but almost like you're wearing them like a mask. So there's, and he was like, I do the same thing. So there's a bit of that where I'm like, oh, now I'm him.
So you visualize the face, which allows you to kind of translate the sound.
Take his face
through.
off and put it. Yeah, it's weird because they move. Everybody has a certain way they move, or like, they emote, and that whether their shoulders are hunched or whoever like Jeff Goldblum does, like, yes, right, right. Like he's got all this stuff going on in here, and it's all localized to this, and it makes you think in a different way. Oh, yes, there's running and screaming. There's something to the physicality that informs this. I don't know. I don't really know what the hell it is.
Yeah. See, I love that insight into what channels it for you.
Yeah,
that blows
strange.
my mind.
Now I want to see what Whitworth did when he did his Morgan Freeman, which was so incredible.
Sam Witwer does a Morgan Freeman.
It's phenomenal. Paint the picture. I was doing a charity thing, and he forced me to do all this stuff, and as a reward, he'd be Morgan Freeman, and I was like, well, we'll see how this goes, and then he was doing it, and so he basically. And he commentated my horror experience because we're playing Alien Isolation, and I have very bad deal. I don't deal with fear at all well. And he loved it, and he was just doing the thing that Morgan, and it was just spot on. And I want to see if he was doing some kind of a Morgan Freeman thing. I guess
physicality. I have done it when I hurt my voice. Like there was this one time I did a session where I was just screaming. And I was like, I bet I could do a Morgan Freeman right now. So I recorded my outgoing voicemail. This is years ago as Morgan Freeman, but it was literally just me like, hello, this is AJ. You've left a voice. Like there was nothing. It was just me doing
it. Yeah. Just
very vague. I was like, I think that's what he sounds like. But my voice is so beat up that it can pass for, how old is he? 80,
lots of a gentleman doesn't review today.
It's either 80 or 30. I don't know.
Yeah. This was another tier. Like, I mean, as Liam said, like when he started doing it live as well, it was like, holy shit! It was.
Well, it's almost because like I look at you and I go, you could do Marty McFly, 100%. Like you just can't. And like it doesn't surprise. It's not something that I would have been like, where did that come from? I mean, it's
right.
It's remarkable how it's the same. But it's like it seems like it would fit you. Whereas I was like, I don't think I mean, let's not embarrass anybody on the stream here. I mean, that's oh my god, it's really good.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is you expect I did like Thor for Disney, and when I went in, they were like, you're not what we pictured, and I was like, well, it's a voice, like they thought,
shut up, Disney. No,
yeah, exactly. Like a Hemsworth was gonna walk in, and I was like, no, just me. Hi.
Were you doing Chris Hemsworth's Thor?
Yes.
Do you?
You know Todd's friends with him.
Oh, really?
Holy shit! Really? So wait, you do.
I've only done it for like the Disney part, like the cruise line. Like there's like a show of some kind where they have an actor mouthing my lines and I don't. It was one of those things where I was brought in, like I did the audition, didn't think about it. They brought me in. They were like, all right, you got it. And I was like, oh man, I didn't think about that too much.
Stack on your head, drag you out again.
What was that?
You have to put a sack on your head, drag you into the booth, and take it off. You're like, where am I? Just say the word.
Right. So my Chris Hemsworth isn't something that I think about a lot until they call me back in to do something else where I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I got to think about that. It's a lot of like Loki, like it's all in that register, like whatever that sound is. It's that it's all chest and kind of there's a goofy broadness to the way he performs Thor.
Yeah, and so he's like got such depth to his voice as well. Like it just resonates. Do you have to match that depth, or is because it's a different style they don't? Like this
was a match. Like it was just a straight up match. So they'd play me his reference and then I just do that. So yeah.
That's so nuts. And then
it's weird.
And then after the Marty McFly situation, then how did it progress? Or did it just because of the status of that then just kind of carried on like the heat per se, once you get out there?
Nope, not at all. It was the total opposite. People were like, well, like Liam just said, where it's like, oh, he does Marty McFly. Like that's because especially at the time, I was really skinny, really small, like, yeah, he did. That makes sense. That's what that guy does. It's a one trick pony sort of thing. And so I had to really fight to try to get anything else out of that. Like, I got like one role that someone said, hey, I saw you did, Back to the Future. And I was in like a very small, like Flash game. And then I had to figure out a way to have to pivot that into a career. Like I wasn't in SAG. I was just in AFTRA. And then there was an agency I knew who, through a friend, they recommended me, but they were like, you're not in SAG, so sorry. So the day that SAG and AFTRA merged, I was like, hey, what's up? Can I re-audition for you guys? So that it took like 2 or 3 years to pivot Marty McFly into something else. Like I was working as an editor in LA for a while.
Wow.
And it was very strange. No one, again, it's kind of like you see these actors like, oh, they do one funny thing on TikTok or YouTube, and you just kind of assume that's all they can do. And so breaking out of that, like there's that guy that does amazing Robin Williams impression, and I think that
the one that did that video.
Yeah, Jamie Costa is his name. Like he's like the thing that's tough about that is when you do such an incredible impression, is people just go, yeah, that's all you do. And what he's been doing is proving, no, I can do more than that. And trying to show that you can do more is hard. But for me, once I got that agent, they started asking me to do different voice matches and stuff, and I was like, I can do some of these. So then I started booking random, like the Croods. I do Clark Duke.
I saw that.
Who's everything. He's kind of Michael J. Foxy, but like if Michael J. Fox was like really drunk. So it's like that's kind of what my voice matching is kind of like my weird, like that's what I do, and then thankfully that spirals out to other roles.
You a good singer?
I don't know.
I'm gonna ask you to sing. Don't worry. I'm not gonna say like
let's find out
or something.
I sing in things. People make me sing, but I'm always like, I don't know what the quality of that was.
But in terms of like, you got any good ear for like sound, pitch, tone, stuff like that?
I hope I do.
Really, I mean, it's
and
did you have like a little catalog? Did you just love Back to the Future and you're like, I happen to be doing a good Marty, and then you're like, oh my god, this came up? Well, you have like did you have like 50 characters and you just know how to use them kind of thing? Or
no, I always thought, to be honest, this is the weird thing, is I don't like watching impressionists. I find people who do impressions kind of annoying. Like this is because I always grew up around people that were like, hey, I do an impression of that, and then they'd go rattle off and I'd be like, yeah, that's nice, John. I like, or whatever it is. Like they're always trying to insert themselves into a situation where they can just do the impression. So my impression of impressionists was really irritating. So I've always been kind of turned off by that. And so it wasn't like something that I offered a lot, but every once in a while it would come out like in a conversation with friends, and I would do like my Michael J. Fox just kind of, intimately for like a group. People were like, wow, it was really good. And then it became a thing where people started asking like, do your Michael J. Fox? And I'd be like, I don't want, I don't want to. And then, but it got bolstered more and more. Like I did that with like Robin Williams and different people that I would drop into conversations, like we'd be talking about a movie and then I would do an impression. But so that wasn't like I had an arsenal of a ton of different celebrities. That was just like, I specifically do Michael J. Fox. And I also, this is so weird, but I was doing birthday parties as Jack Sparrow in New York for several years.
Yeah,
we're like,
doing all that stuff.
That was a pretty wild thing where I just did it as a Halloween costume. I was like, I'll get the impression down. And then people started asking me, can you do my kid's party? And I was like,
wow,
maybe.
What?
And so that sort of spiraled.
You've got a TikTok career just doing that now if you wanted, right? At this particular moment in the zeitgeist.
I've hung up the dreads. I'm there's enough Jack Sparrow impersonators running around Hollywood Boulevard. So I was like, once I booked Marty, I was like, and I'm done.
Okay, hang on. A couple of shout outs here. Who we got? We did get it. Oh, we got someone reminding. Oh, yeah, Bob Catamatic. Member for 2 months. Soup Spud. What's Soup Spud? Is that a title that they add?
A thing?
Or is that one of the tiers, Drew?
That's one of the tiers, mate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sweet. Okay. Excellent. Has anyone got any questions, by the way? We've been absorbed, but does anyone want to throw anything out for AJ? My phone's just thought I said, hey, Siri. Nope. Does anyone want to throw any questions for AJ out before we jump into the gameage, just in case? Another one, bro. What did that for them? So to getting to the Han Solo level through obviously the Lego situation, was there like a stepping stone that led to that, or was it just literally another audition situation, or what?
That was a weird one too, because I had to kind of insert myself. There are guys that do Harrison Ford that do Han Solo and have done it for years.
Right.
And my agent kind of poo-pooed it, when I was like, hey, I think I could do a pretty good, because I'll rewind. I was on like a forum, like the Replica Prop forum, and when Marty came out, people were like, wow, what other impressions can you do? Can you do like voicemails and stuff? And I was like, yeah, sure. And so I made like a list, and someone heard my Harrison Ford and they were like, that's really good. But like I do. So this guy actually does Johnny Depp's voice matching. His name is Jared Butler, not to be confused with Gerard Butler. And yeah, exactly. And he was like, hey, like I live like right down the block from you. Do you want to meet up and talk about this? So he's like, I think I can help you turn what is just kind of like a fun impression to something you could actually use. I was like, sure, because I thought like, there's no way I'm ever going to voice match Harrison Ford. Like he's so, he's the top of the top. And so he kind of, we went to his like apartment and hung out and talked about his years voicing Jack Sparrow and Johnny Depp, and he kind of worked me through like what's the process beyond just doing like Michael J. Fox, how to like just listen, and it was really interesting. I mean, a lot of stuff that I was already doing, but he was actually like giving me a grid of like how to listen, and so he gave me the confidence to actually assert myself and tell my agent like, I really want to do Han. Or Indy or anything Harrison related. And, she honestly went like, nah, we got a guy. And I was like, all right. So I spoke to D. Bradley Baker, because we were working on a show together. And I was like, hey, do you ever see anything for Han? Like, I know you do all the clones and all this stuff. And he was like, send me over a thing, and D and I are close now. But at the time he was like, I think he was a little like, all right, kid, like, sure, send it to me. And if it's good. And so I sent it to him and he was like, this is really good. And I was like, what? Really? And he was like, yeah. He was like, I'll send it to Lucasfilm. And I was like, all right. Wow. And so he did. And then not long after that, they were looking for someone for Forces of Destiny, and which was like they were shorts. They were canon shorts that were in the Star Wars world, focused on the female characters and like these mini adventures. And so they had Han for one of those. And so I had to I auditioned a bunch. And then when I got it, I kind of lost my mind and made myself physically ill over how excited I was and nervous. So it was a hard climb. Like that specifically was years of me going like, if you ever see any Harrison Ford stuff, please let me know. And it kind of being gate kept for a really long time, until thankfully D. Bradley Baker was like, let me send this over. So it was a weird process. I'm all about back doors. I'm all about like never take the front door. If you're waiting in line for an audition, you're standing in the wrong place. Like you have to go through the side door always. Yeah,
I mean, you got that tenacity. That's the way to do it for sure.
I've never heard someone pioneer so many opportunities. Like that is impressive, dude.
Well, thank you. Yeah. I think it's just a form of like insanity or maybe obsession. I'm not sure what it is.
Drive. I mean, it's having a drive and the passion and also the belief in yourself and knowing that you've got something to offer. Do you know what I mean? Like and actively chasing it. A lot of people talk it, can talk the talk, but
it's easy to talk.
To actually put the work in and chase it. Like it's actually nice to hear that because it's like a deserving thing as well. It's like, no, you put the yards in to get where you are, and now it's paid off. Like that's and you're fucking freaking. I said, guys, you're Lego Star Wars. I mean, that's the shit.
It's crazy. The funny thing is you say that, and I appreciate that, but immediately as soon as you book something, all that confidence goes out the window. You're like, come on, coach, put me in, and then you're in. You're like, oh crap.
Yeah,
I think
definitely that. I think if you're in anything, if you are I was watching like the English Premier League just finished, and the best team in the whole world probably won, and the person that had just been sort of signed for them at the start of the year was saying how nervous they were, how scared they were, and how they didn't believe it. They could, but now they are lifting the trophy. I think it's normal for people to be like, I can do it, and then you're like, well, then do it. And you're like, oh god.
Yeah, you have to. The kinds of people that don't feel that way, I think, are crazy people. If you have to have some doubt in order to get to that, because so much of this stuff is built on doubt. Like you listen to yourself and you go, that's not good. You walk away from it and you go, I think I could do it again. And like all these things are built on that sort of. You try and try and try, and there's drafts, and it's that sort of doubt that pushes you to get to a place where
there's got to be belief too. I think.
That too, yes, but I think a critical eye of going like, is that good or is that crap?
Yes.
Totally.
I think that lack of self-awareness is what gets most of the people into trouble in the entertainment-ish world because they're just going.
We're seeing a lot of it right now.
Yeah,
exactly.
100%. We've got a couple of questions, actually a crap ton. So let me. Someone asked.
There's ones I already seen some ones that you can't answer where people are like, "What's the biggest job you've never got?" And you're like,
I can't talk about that."
Oh, okay, yeah, got you. Have you ever met Harrison Ford?
Yes.
Oh, you have.
I have. It's a very embarrassing story that I just told recently on a podcast. It's. I'll tell the really quick version. I was at the midnight midnight screening of the 4th Indiana Jones. Me and a bunch of my friends dressed up. My buddy was Short Round. Another friend was Henry Jones Sr. And I was Indy. And my professor called me just as I was about to, like in college for film studies. And he was like, I know you're a big fan of Indiana Jones. Can you get to the Paramount Theater or whatever by 6 a.m.? Or 7 a.m. to do the screening. And I was like, dude, I was going to go home after this. I have no change of clothes and I'm dressed like Indiana Jones right now. And he was like, hold on, let me call you back. So he calls me back. He's like, that's fine, but don't do anything crazy. And I was like, okay. So I oversleep completely, wake up. It's like 7 o'clock. It's pouring rain in New York. I run like 30 blocks dressed like Indiana Jones, sneak into this theater because I couldn't get in the traditional way. And then I go into it's like a 50-seat maybe theater. And I see my professor and I'm soaking wet, like just drenched, like my hat's down and like just so wet. And the lights come on. They do a Q&A with Harrison Ford and Karen Allen. And he leans over to me and he goes, when they leave, get them. And I was like, what? And he was like, well, as they're leaving, get him. Don't tell anyone I said this. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, go jump in front of him and say hi. And I was like, and so the lights, go up all the way. He gets up and he goes, go, go, go. And I was like, so I sort of just ran through it was very small theater. So it was very obvious that this wet kid dressed like Indiana Jones was coming towards him. And I just kind of jumped in front of him and was like, hi, like realizing what the hell am I doing? And my professor's just like, hee. And I was just like, I'm a big fan, sir. Like I just completely turned to just garbage. And so and he's like, he just looks at me and goes, wow. And then
wow.
And so he just extends his hand and shakes my hand, and Karen Allen's there. And I was like, I've been in love with you since I was a baby. And then they just kind of went, all right, cool. And then they moved him past me or everyone, and I was like, and then Karen Allen took a photo with me, and I don't know where it went or what, you know, it was very, very awkward. But that one moment where you're standing face to face with your hero, I was like 18 or 19. It was very,
said, wow.
So yeah, and he just went, wow. Yeah.
Oh, you got the whole kind of like half laugh, did you? Wow.
Yeah, exactly. I was, God, I would never do that ever now or even before. It was just the urging of my professor and no sleep and him being like, go get up there. So it was
so good, but so good that
really
you did it.
Right. Otherwise, you'd be just wet Indiana Jones watching Indiana Jones
soaking wet. It was winter, I believe, or maybe it was spring, but it was so cold, and I was just like in the air conditioning. I looked like a drenched rat. Yeah,
and you were
you got the good
always
story.
would have been like,
great.
what if I went up?
Yeah.
You know
what if I went up? I think, yeah, it's insane. Just to be face to face with him and have him like react like, who is this idiot, was really funny. Because clearly just looking at this really skinny, really just wet, tired child, you know, like, yeah, very weird.
So we can't answer the one about.
My friend was his personal assistant. Was on what was that? Something's Ender's Game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so he's like, come to the premiere. I'll introduce you to Harrison Ford. And I don't have a great story like that. I just literally he was like very busy meeting everybody that mattered. And then my friend who was his personal assistant for some of it was like, yeah, here's Liam. And I was like, sort of like, Mr. Ford, hello. And he's like, all right. And then that was the whole experience.
That's basically the experience I had. Yeah, so you probably looked like a human being. So
I don't know. I think he was like, "Why have you wasted my time with this man?" I don't know. Need anything about that.
That's awesome.
We're gonna talk later.
He's so over all of us as human beings because all we do is gush over how. Yeah.
Where he's like,
absolutely.
He's like Zeus visiting Earth, where he's like, yeah. You know, like
totally.
And you can't you can't say the biggest gig you didn't get, so that was one of the questions.
Yeah, we'll have to move past that one because
definitely.
And no one here is going to MCM London next weekend. I'm assuming.
I am not. I am debating whether I go to Star Wars Celebration. I have not decided yet.
What's that?
So every year they host like a 3-4 day thing. I think it's in Anaheim, where you can get tickets, and it's a celebration of Star Wars, hence the name Star Wars Celebration. I've been in Star Wars, much as the same as AJ, and I feel like I belong there. Still had to be like, hey, Sam Whitworth, can you get me tickets? He's like, I don't know, man. I'll try.
Call Harrison.
That's awesome.
Question.
I actually have a question.
There you go.
Not Drew, not for you. Let the people have
Drew.
I know, right? Listen. I wiggled my way into this meeting. And,
what was AJ's lesson?
I left a voicemail
on
Liam's phone.
Yeah, send it to me.
I have one question that's I think you can answer. I was a big Legend of Voltron fan, and I saw
I want to do this too. Yeah, go on.
That you on IMDb that you did LoTor, which was awesome, and probably a bunch of other voices. I guess my question is like, is out of all the things you've done, like, how does that stack as far as like fandom goes? Like, and the people, like, have you gone to cons? Have people like recognized you for that over anything else, or like?
That's definitely the most. That fandom was I don't know how to describe it. Huge, and in a way that I've never experienced before. Where they're because everyone was like between 14 and 20, and the community was so intense. Like, it was such an intense, active community. Like, when that show became a thing, I'd never seen anything like it. And a lot of people that I'd worked with who have been doing this for, decades were like, we've never seen anything like this. So very intense. Like, that's the thing I definitely get recognized for the most. I would say Marty's probably the second thing.
Wow.
But yeah, Voltron is like, I'll just be at like a deli or something, and someone will be like, are you Prince LoTor? And I'm like, yes, I am. Like, it's pretty wild. Yeah, like LoTor is surprisingly huge. None of us expected it too. We thought,
never guessed that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, again, I was a big fan of the show. I didn't expect to be. I was kind of like, it was one of those like remakes where you're like, okay, like, here we go.
Right. It's a weird thing where you're like, oh, a Voltron remake. Yeah.
But it was good. Like, it was really good. And the arc that they gave Lotor was actually really cool.
Yeah.
And surprising, I think, even for a cartoon, to see like a character kind of come. I don't want to spoil anything for people who haven't seen it, but I am spoiling it. Yeah. But he has a great arc, and and I guess he lasts a lot longer than you think he would for a villain of his type. And I thought it was performed amazingly as well. So and all the actors I thought did a great job. And I was wondering too, like what it was like to work with like a lot of the other actors, and did you guys work together in like a booth, or was it kind of done like piecemeal, or how was that done?
That was what was so cool about that show, is we did everything together basically. Awesome, so it's like sometimes there'd be like 8 of us in a booth, so it was insane. Where I want to say the most was like they did like 9 or 10 of us, and then they realized it was a huge mistake because it was like Tyler Labine and Reese Darby and like just all of us just making fart jokes, and it was just a big old mess.
You had Reese Darby in there too.
Yeah. He's amazing. And Jeremy Shada and Kimberly Brooks and like just the whole gang of us. And Stephen Yun was in there, and just it was insane. The cast was amazing, but again, they realized they would usually have 5 or 6 of us at least in there. But I think the really big ones, we got like nothing done. Andrea Romano was the director who did like Batman the Animated Series and Animaniacs and all that stuff, and Avatar: Last Airbender, and she was like, guys, pay attention, stop making poopy jokes. And we were like, hee. So.
And are you overlapping in stuff, like as far as like how clean do you have to keep the audio so that they can?
We would definitely pause. There wasn't any barriers or anything, so it was like, I mean, I've done that as well, and that's nice, but like we just got used to it, where it was like you do your line and then you give it a beat, So it was,
got you.
Yeah,
so
it was
it's
pretty
always clean.
simple.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite Ninja Turtle, Todd?
Donatello, obviously. AJ texted me and said Donatello.
What? How did you? That's just a small little bit of my IMDb that I've done Donatello. It's
bullshit.
Well, I mean, for me, it's the world, but like it's like 1 3-minute short. So
are you joking?
Yeah, it's
Donatello.
Small... Yeah, Donatello was. Wait,
not even one of the good turtles, Todd.
Yes. Fucking Donatello's the man.
I know you love him. He's no Leonardo, but I guess he's okay.
Leonardo's a close second, but Donatello's the fucking man.
It's not the first time I'm hearing about that from you.
Someone said Picdini asked a question too, which is kind of relevant with that. Do you have to? Well, essentially, I'll kind of paraphrase it. Do you have to do any voice work per se, as far as like conditioning work? Or you just kind of would do vocal warm-ups for projects and stuff like that?
Yeah, I lift weights with my tongue.
Hot.
Well, it depends. Like for older Han in the Lego Star Wars, because I did young Han, and then I asked like who's doing older Han, and they're like, we don't have anyone yet. And I was like, can I audition? And so they were like, yeah, sure. So I went home, and I know typically if I've had a long day where I'm talking, or if you scream a lot, like you go to Disneyland or something, you get this husk. And so for old Han, I was like, I need to create that so that I can get down to the summit. Like the Chewie, we're home is like really, like you can hear I can't get there now because I've been talking all day. But he's got a really deep, there's something down there that's, it's a really deep husk. So I had to spend
for your life. That helps. That's my trick.
What was that?
Have asthma for your entire life. That's my.
Oh, there you go. That'll work. Or smoke a lot. Apparently, I know I have some friends that'll drink a bunch of whiskey and smoke cigars before they do monsters and stuff. So
sure, that's what fits for the character. I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. It's for the character. Yeah, but for Han, I do a lot of conditioning, and then for Lotor, I would do a lot of like singing Moulin Rouge, because that I felt opened up the voice, and
okay. So you sing like ballady type stuff.
Yeah, and not even good. I was just singing it to get like, all right, I'm warming up. It's 9 a.m. and I haven't spoken, and
So how do you get the husk thing? You just like belt out, like, because you said you do it at the end of the day. Will you actually just belt stuff out during the day for a few hours? And
it's a lot of like just messing with there's also just a lot of like very basic, like going like weird noises like that, where you're just going like making like monkey noises. That was one of the things James Arnold Taylor taught me. He's like, just go ooh 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 ooh, and I was like, okay.
No way.
But there were sessions where, like, when we were doing Han, I went, "Can you guys mute me for a second so I could just stand there and do some monkey voices to like get back into the, because after 2 or 3 hours of talking, your voice gets a bit thin, and so I would have to like go back and like,
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's very weird. I've seen actors do it on set, like when you're doing mocap, and that's extra weird.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
there was someone on a game I was working on recently where they were walking around just going, "Oh," and I was like, "What is their problem?" And I was like, "Oh, they're doing warm-ups. That's right."
Yeah.
So Leo Alerts asked as well. One of the other guys here, Leo, said, well, actually, it taps into what you're saying again, paraphrasing his question. Do you do the mannerisms of Han when you're doing the actual vocal work in the booth? Are you finding your sort of physicalities moving it? Yeah. Okay.
You gotta. I mean, especially the finger. We're like, "Hey, listen." There's a lot of this. Listen, Chewie. I don't know. Like he does. There's that all informs.
So good.
Like his voice.
He really likes to get up in your face, doesn't he?
Right, you gotta get up here, and I don't know, fly casual. He does things with his face, and like he's got one side.
Yeah, like one half.
One half of his face does this. Which is,
which would change the sound.
Yeah,
it does
it
because
the
it's
sound
the way
of your voice. He has a bit of a. I'm giving away all my secrets, but he has a lisp. That people don't notice.
I can't. That's where I think I fell down. I don't think I can do it.
Can you give us an example of where that translates? That lisp translates.
So, like in Raiders of the Lost Ark, it goes whiskey. Like instead of saying whiskey, he just goes whiskey, and it's this little
whiskey. Okay.
It's hard to. It's just something I've heard my whole life, so I don't quite know what letters it is. I just know when I'm doing the impression where it naturally falls,
Okay.
So it's but he's got, and you can see his
things,
he talks out of one side of his face basically. There's a sort of whatever side hangs down affects his voice, and I'm not doing the full impression, but there's trying to emphasize that weird lip.
People like grading you.
And we're
exactly. I always feel self-conscious about Han because he's so, or even Marty. I'm like, I'm doing it at 50%.
Right.
You get what you paid for on that one.
That's right.
Hang on, here we go. Oh, Pagan's listening whilst driving.
My girlfriend, Jesus.
Girlfriend. That's me, mate.
Like, wow, God, I just got divorced.
Seriously, good luck.
But yeah, her favorite character in the world is Gizmo, and I'm sure you aren't allowed to say anything yet. But I'm pretty.
I can't say anything about Gizmo. I can't do the voice yet.
Dude,
no, I don't want to. I don't want to hear it.
Okay, good.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
Same. I was like, fuck that.
I'm so excited.
But
I'm just really excited to make sure at the end of this experience that AJ has all of the job opportunities that he started with. That's what I'm interested in.
So wait, when did this signing happening? When did like this is obviously gone, public. What's happening with
ish. You never know. I mean, just because I
okay.
mean that everybody.
Oh,
knows.
with
Gizmo?
Gizmo. Yeah, it's out there, but I can't. I've asked. I'm like, I can't do the voice on. They'll announce when it happens, and they'll be, because right now all we've seen is basically still images of him. So it's like,
okay.
I don't know when they're gonna.
Pretty exciting, and they've already announced the second season. It's exciting.
Oh,
it's
really?
Crazy.
Did it already get greenlit? Wow, that's awesome, dude. Congrats.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah, especially for a voice that's so ingrained into your head, and it's also nonverbal. So it's like, I mean, there is a language to it, but it's in my mind, I think like, well, anyone could do this, right? And then hearing, that it was not that case when they were doing the auditions, and I was like, oh, okay, because I grew up doing a similar sound, like I would do an impression of like Bobby's World and stuff like that.
Bobby's World,
yeah.
Whoa, yes.
So for me, it was like everyone does that voice, and I was like, oh no, this is a very specific thing I've been secretly training for. Yeah.
It's funny if that happens, where you're just like, wow, apparently they need one of these right now, and I'm the only guy that was like, that'd be fun to do.
Yeah. It's like this thing that annoys my friends or my girlfriend is now something someone's like, oh, good, like we can hire you to do this. It's like, oh, are you sure?
Awesome, yeah. Talk about like a grab bag of the world's most iconic characters. That's not terrible.
It's not bad. I know. I'm trying. I feel, I feel very, very lucky. I'm like, oh, they let me do that? Cool.
Yeah.
That is cool.
I'm just going through this list. We've got a lot here. So hang on. I'm just trying to like.
We have to play the game. I'm excited to hear some stories about actually making this damn game. It's really good.
It's very, very fun.
Do you have a preference of which chapter you would like to play? Because we did start playing A New Hope, but that was on my computer, and I don't have my computer in LA, so dealer's choice.
Aren't all the other chapters locked?
Start,
yeah,
you have to start at the
locked.
beginning of any trilogy. Yeah.
Do you have an unlock code, AJ? Come on, mate. They should send you that.
I don't have anything. I had to ask for a download code for the game. Actually, I didn't ask. My friend Alan was just like, "Do you want one?" I was like, "Of course I want one."
What a legend. Can you hear Sean Connery? Tacitus has asked. How would you say that name? Tacitus. Tacitus?
Yeah, I'll do Tacitus. Trust the Romans.
Can you do Sean Connery?
Can I? I did one. I did like an Indiana Jones where it's Henry Jones Sr. and Indy going back and forth with each other. But that was just
shit.
That was just something I did, like listened to it, did it, and it was like, oh god. See, my Sean Connery is not something I do a lot. It's just something I did for that video. So I immediately discarded the impression. But it's out there. If you look up my name and like Indiana Jones, you'll find me yelling at myself. It's awesome. Just me in my booth with a horrible like 420. It's like way out of sync.
I think I watched it and I think it was excellent.
Oh, thank you. But Sean Connery shot. I mean, Sean Connery's got. I can't do it now. I'm not. He's not someone that I do a lot, so it's just not there.
I just end up doing the Diablo guy. Stay a while and listen. That's not.
I actually heard too. He hates impressions. Like he hates impressions of him. Well, not that it matters anymore. But
yeah. Joke's on him. He's dead.
Jesus Christ.
Who did we have? We had somebody on the show that it was Alan Tudyk did a Connery impression.
Fantastic.
And he was saying like Connery was in the show performance. He did it on Broadway. It was like a thing, like a gag to do a Connery impression, as part of the show. And then Connery apparently came backstage and is like, "You're the asshole," or something.
Oh my god!
Just called him out.
That at all.
I just realized my computer's at 5%. I'll be right back. I gotta get my charger. Hold on. Sorry.
What happened?
All the work we went through.
It got terrifying. You can open the door and the whole door moves.
So, where's your kitchen? All right. Wait. Did I get through? I think I got through. Oh, there's a lot more questions, but
all the good questions.
Yeah.
Don't read out the bad ones. All the ones you don't read out will be the bad ones, Todd.
No, I love all your questions. Everyone, all of you guys. Yes, Mel. 36 months. That is amazing. That's the entire time.
Don't write that, Matt. That's not fair. Don't put that down. That's not the quote I want.
What? Which one?
Sorry. Yeah. Joke's on him. He's dead.
Yeah, that's terrible. Yeah, we'll delete that. We'll delete that out of the YouTube. You can do that, right?
Yeah, of course.
You can cut that out.
I'd be a terrible comedian. I'd apologize for all the scandalous jokes I made.
Yeah.
Like immediately. I wouldn't be able to do anything even vaguely controversial.
Dude, just don't go up and slap any comedians. You'll be good.
Yeah, that didn't go well. Okay, so Matt, Bobcat's got one. Out of all the Star Wars lore and chapters, which one is your absolute personal favorite and why?
This is for
all the Star Wars chapters.
Yeah, Star Wars chapters. So we're including legends and
lore and chapters. Yeah.
What do you? I mean, let's go with core Skywalker Saga movies.
Yeah, otherwise it's going to be like Shadows of the Empire or Splinter of the Mind's Eye. It's going to be something.
Yeah.
Lando's spin-off novels.
I mean, Heir to the Empire is really good.
Yeah. We're all going to say Empire Strikes Back, right? I mean, isn't that kind of how these conversations are supposed to go?
Usually, yeah.
I don't know. Young Anakin, I got time for him. It also has Jar Jar in it.
Jar Jar is like
no one's gonna choose Last Jedi.
I'll choose it last. It seems perfect in the name.
I like Caravan of Courage.
Christmas special.
The Ewoks steal the show every time.
Yeah, every time.
Yeah, I used to watch those as a kid, like when, especially in the 80s, where it was like something would come out, or 90s or 70s, where you're like, how does this relate? And there was no way to look it up, other than like maybe seeing it in a new magazine where you're like, totally. Is this connected to Star Wars, like legally? Like,
is somebody allowed to do this?
Yeah,
no, right? Yeah.
Like all the James Bonds, how at some point they were owned by two different companies, and you're like, are they? Is this canon? I'm so confused.
Yeah. What is the one it's Casino Royale, right? The one that's with. Like,
there's the Woody Allen Casino Royale,
yeah,
and then there's like the George Lazenby one, right? Where is that?
That man was the best Bond ever. Don't you dare. He's Australian.
But it's owned by like a different. It's like it's not the Bruce Lee.
Someone was telling me the story of how he got that job and how like they were trying to not cast him, and he was just around, and he was just this like sexy man who's like, "I'll be your Bond, no worries, mate." And they're like, "I don't think so." And he's like, "Come on, you don't have anyone else?" And they're like, "Well, we really don't." And you're like, "How do you not have any-" anyway? And yeah,
there's a documentary about it.
Yeah, there is too.
Yeah, I'll actually defend his Bond. I actually thought it wasn't as bad as everybody makes it out to be.
Yeah, what a great
thing. What's your favorite Bonds? There you go. That's a good one. Gut instinct. But favorite Bond film.
This doesn't even slightly apply to any of the stuff we're doing today.
No. That's just a quick side piece.
I'm gonna go with GoldenEye because that's the
GoldenEye.
One
Yes, that's mine.
GoldeNeye's mine. Yeah.
I love that you picked GoldenEye. That's mine, bro.
That's so nice. Good. It's the only one I put on all the time. Where I'm just like, I'm gonna put on GoldenEye.
Yes,
that is probably the best Bond score. I love the music.
It's phenomenal. That pull, that ping, that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to underrate you all. This is another stream. This is going to be affecting our YouTube ratio, whatever it is, algorithms.
What words do we say to pick up the algorithm? Star Wars. Inside.
Actually, I'll end it. I know you can't say anything, but come on, X-Men '97. What's up?
Oh my god.
Yeah. Disney
give me
will.
all of the spoilers. Give them to me.
No.
They basically said to me, if you say anything, we'll snipe you. Was essentially in a much nicer, more Disney-friendly way.
Bro. They can't even see you.
No one watches this.
You're in a booth. You're in a booth. You're protected.
I will say, as a fan, the only thing I can say was that I was like, thank you. When I was talking about the project, I was like, thank you, you guys.
That's one where I need
know what you're doing.
Off air, I'm gonna have to talk to you how you get these like side angles, because I'm like, who do I need to physically molest to get into
this one was just a straight. They just sent this audition out, but it was like, it was just a regular audition.
Yeah,
must be nice getting those regular auditions for things.
Just a regular voicemail, bro. You need to start calling some people, Liam.
Yeah, I know. I'm not. I don't know.
Just leave voicemails.
I just want to know if you've changed your phone ringtone to the X-Men theme song. Like, is that mandatory when you?
Yes, it is. The background of my phone is an X-Men.
Show us which one.
No, you probably can't. No, don't.
What's on here? Discord and Mendocino. Well, it's not a specific character. It's just just this nucleus gallery.
Drew just wants hits because he just wants clicks. Don't listen to him.
Clicks. Give me the clicks.
I'm here to defend you and everybody else, other actor in the world.
Bobcat Maddox was
just one time I said I auditioned for Star Wars, the new movie Star Wars, and it almost ruined my career. So never again. No cost.
That's what's tough and weird about these things is people make assumptions because like I'm a big fan of so many different properties that like just because I'm like, oh look, I've got this statue of so and so, it doesn't mean I'm playing that character. I just love that character.
It doesn't necessarily mean.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
50-50.
All this Dolly Parton stuff that I've got. It doesn't mean anything.
I knew it.
Bobcat's just dropped us some soup too. Thanks, Bobcat, you freaking legend.
Bobcat.
He said you guys are all legends. Can't thank you enough for everything that y'all do. I threw that little
Clone Wars. He's a Clone Wars fan. Very smart.
Clone Wars have to be
Clone Wars is good.
Nobody's out there for Resistance. Nobody. Okay, that's right.
Rude.
No, I mean, it has redeeming qualities.
That is a good one. AJ, can you say "Get off my plane"?
I was gonna say "Get off my phone," but
I'm trying to. How does he say it in the movie? It's been such a long time.
It's so gravelly. Get off my plane. It's so like.
Yeah, everybody now. Let's all compare notes.
Get off my plane.
That's pretty good. That's good. I'm gonna submit that to someone. We should be able to get your job.
Someone cut together a super cut of him just going, "Where's my wife? Where's my daughter? Where's my wife?" Just him looking for his wife in like different movies.
No way.
He's always lost someone.
Yeah,
he's the original Liam Neeson.
Every Jack Ryan movie, pretty much. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
Was there a go-to film that you would just watch over and over, or was it just like Star Wars? Did you just want to land that one, or did you watch like the breadth of work, or was there
for Harrison?
For Harrison.
I mean, I go back and forth between Raiders of the Lost Ark and American Graffiti is just like Yahoo or whatever he does, and he disappears. Empire Strikes Back, A New Hope, and Raiders. But Yeah, those are the ones that, I mean, Raiders and the first Star Wars are what's burned into my brain more than anything. And then the opening of Empire with him and Leia arguing, or those are the things that are just like forever. You know, if you distill me down to just atoms, those lines would still be there. You know.
Do you watch them as a refresher every time to get the tone in your head?
I have playlists, which is weird. Like I have these weird little, like, I make VO playlists where I'll just listen to them on the way to a job, where it's like me just repeating back different, depending on, like, Tom Holland. I do a bunch of Tom Holland stuff, and I don't
really, because
he's a new actor, you know, someone that you don't, you know, I didn't grow up with him. I have to listen to his stuff a lot. And so when I'm on the way to do a session for him, I'm just listening to him, you know, talk or scream or whatever it is. So, yeah.
For like Uncharted or Spider-Man or something specific
I worked on both of those. Yeah, awesome. Like I was doing, because the way the production is, sometimes they just want to have a line fit in, you know, and not like they'll do a joke. And so they can't afford Tom, or maybe they don't want to get Tom to do
Hang on. Are you shitting me?
Nobody's doing my voice for anything that I didn't approve.
Wait. I've been in this biz for a while, and that's just fucking blown my mind. Are you saying?
What? Are you joking?
Are you joking?
No. About what? About these voice matching things?
Yeah.
And they will bring you in to do that in the film because they can't get him for the.
Yeah, I mean, typically,
friggin' what's his face?
Christopher Walken.
Yeah,
Nolan does it for Christopher Walken.
Like everyone has an impression, but he has the impression.
That's amazing. Yeah, it happens constantly. Like, where I'll just be like, "That was me." Where like you'll be watching. Like, one of my friends sent me something from one of the Spider-Mans where I was just like, "That's you, right?" And I was like, I guess so. Maybe, I don't know. Because you also do so many of them. Typically, like 99% of the time, they'll bring in the actor, but with someone who's, you know,
it's
too
just
busy.
They're unavailable, right? Yeah, like, they're on set, or like, and they just, you know, there's a timing to things, so things gotta get done.
And it's usually inconsequential.
Like, no one can come and just do dialogue for me without my approval, and they're like, we're not gonna agree to that. Please? Oh, okay.
Wow.
No, you know, I just want someone to be like, "Oh no, here I am going to my home planet now," and I'm like, "Well, I didn't say that. Why am I dead now?" Oh.
Right.
You're now unemployed. I'm like,
going to my home planet. Oh, that's so good. Shit, I honestly didn't know that. Like,
you didn't know that happened?
No.
Todd, all of your lines in Without Remorse weren't you.
Just like some random dude.
They called me and they were like, "Can you do a Todd?" Yeah,
you do a good Todd.
They just call
I don't do a good Todd, frankly.
Some huge African American guy to come in and just match my voice.
Fun fact: Hugh Jackman actually does all of Todd's lines.
Yeah,
he does all of his
but then they have to turn the bass down a lot to try to get my kind of resonance.
Totally, yeah. It really is. Like, man, be a little more manly, sir.
Yeah, he's harder.
Yeah. Can we
bigger pecs.
Can we have one from a gentleman?
I seriously, I'm blown. I'm blown at that. Maybe not. I'm blown away. That's like a Liam quote. I'm actually that's really tripped me out. I didn't actually realize that. I can't believe I've been doing this that long and never heard of them just bringing someone in just to be like, oh, Tom's too busy, so we'll get AJ in to do his line, and then it makes the cut. I thought for a temp line for sure, but not like an actual production, like in the cinema line. That's
it's much rarer that it'll be a permanent, you know, line, but it happens. I mean, it happens all the time where they're like, just put it in there. But yeah, it's pretty wild because you wouldn't, I don't know, but I mean, I guess they're usually something that's very tiny, like an effort or a scream, or like,
you're like, oh no.
You know, I've definitely done stuff where they're like, they don't want him to scream. Can you just scream for him? And I'm like, sure, whatever. I'll scream for Tom.
Oh yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah, that's
your
fine.
Voice is expendable.
I'm a stunt double for his voice. You know, like it's kind of how it is. I don't always know where it is because, you know, there's definitely other people will point it out to me because I can't hear it often.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very weird. That's the secret dark side of voiceover, is that it's like the actor you see isn't necessarily the actor you hear. It's very weird.
Yeah.
Is there something you didn't get that's been released that you went for? Like the whole, we had a story time a few weeks ago that's like stuff that we missed out on that we were close for, but like that's already been released that you can talk about. Like something that's in production that you can release exclusively to us that no one knows about, that break your contract type thing. No, I'm just joking. Something that you like.
I mean, I did do a weird thing where I worked on The Greatest Showman for like a year where I was dubbing. I was dubbing one of the main characters. It was the Tom Thumb guy because he had a really heavy accent and they couldn't. I mean, he did what he did well, but they decided that they wanted his voice to sound different. So I kept coming in and doing it, and they had James Mangold do the temporary voice, and they were like, just do it the way James is as far as timing goes. And then I went to the movie to go watch it, and they used the temp voice that James Mangold did, and I don't think they credited him. I don't know if I'm not supposed to talk about it, but like it sounds like they just was like, screw it, we'll use the temp stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I try to, maybe I like Wolverine heal those memories when it's like something, it's like it could have been me.
Yeah. Okay, no, that's fair.
There was one fun, it was a Han Solo project around the time that Solo: A Star Wars Story came out, where I recorded the whole thing, and they decided that I sounded too much like Harrison Ford, so then they got someone in to sound a little more like the kid version, so they got like a kid version of him. It was really strange, but because it wasn't a voice match of the other actor either, it was just like a generic sounding, and I was like, that's fine, like that's, I don't,
you're too good at this.
I was like, I'll take the compliment.
Yeah, and the money if you're offering it.
Well,
you load this game up. Let's see what we got.
Yeah. That's
playing a game after all this.
Yeah. Maybe, we're gonna jump in and do a little bit.
Anytime you need to jump out, just go. All right, it's all good.
We're not set to time. Sometimes we'll do 3-hour streams, but we just call it whenever you need to go, AJ.
As much fun as that small booth is.
It's very hot in here. So
I'm sure it's hot. That's what I mean.
There is no ventilation. I thought about wearing like just a tank top, and I was like, no, that'll look lame.
No, it'll look great. The ladies love that. Todd barely ever wears clothes.
Show off too much of his chest.
I mean, I was so happy because I had against remotes is a little while between speaking against the living, and that's something. I was just like, this guy's incredible. So I guess that's just how you become a voice actor. Because I mean, my story's similar. It's sort of nothing and then kind of nothing for it all, and kind of still bouncing along, and here we go. But it's so cool. Like looking at your amazing body of work is it's just so nice to see you done so well with it. It's great.
Oh, thanks, man. It's so. I saw a comment recently. I was looking up whoever did that Spock voice. I don't know if you guys saw the video game they released where they had an older Spock voice match. And I was like, what is this? I have no idea who did it, but whoever did it did an insane job. And so I was trying to figure it out, like reverse engineer, like, is this someone I know? And I was looking through the comments, and I stumbled on one that made me laugh, where it said, like, maybe it's like that AJ LoCascio guy where he just came out of nowhere, did a great job as Marty, and then never worked again. And I was like, I'll take it.
Joke's on you.
Sure, that's great.
I know, right?
I had one of those. I was doing a Twitch stream. I don't think you were in it, Todd, and I was trying to find somewhere to like send all the people, like the audience, after you finish. And I found this guy, this random dude who was doing sculpture, and it was really good. So I was like, guys, I don't know if you're into this, but let's go and check out this sculpty guy. He seems amazing, and he was amazing. And I was about to get off, but I was like, I'll just stick around. I'll watch him do a little bit of stuff. And then people were trying to say, you've got Spot because it's just rated, it's just handle us over to you. And he's like, he wasn't really paying attention because he was sculpting. And then people were trying to get his attention about it. And then I think he misinterpreted it as like, like that show. He's like, what, like the TV show? I watched that. I watched the first season. He's like, oh man, but I mean, how could you watch any more of that? Because like, I hear because they got another guy, right? But I mean, jeez. I mean, the first guy was so great. I mean, that guy would have been terrible. And I mean, how could you ever watch? And he really dug a huge grave, like a massive hole. Like he wasn't paying it. And people were like, please stop. Oh my God, no, it's the guy. The other guy is the guy in here. And eventually it was like, and like I mean, you just wouldn't. I mean, I've never seen that in the history of television. But, there's the guy. Yeah, whatever, man. Really? The guy is, oh God. And I was like, it was kind of the best. I felt terrible for him because I was like, whatever, it's fine, I get it. It was just, he just kept digging. I was like, you should please read your chat messages because you want to probably stop saying this. It's funny. I love it when people are just like, he's the worst. And you're like, go ahead, man. I mean, it's worked out. You don't have to know. Someone really put that in there for you? That's crazy.
That's so funny.
His modeling, though, was insane.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, he could say whatever he wanted. He was so down.
He can, yeah.
He was making like a Gimli, and it was just, I was like, he could just like he ripped his own face off again. And you could have won it for your impression. Would have been great. You could have just been like, give me those faces. I'll just stick them right on there. It'd be great.
Oh my God. Wouldn't that be the dream? I would love to just like, he does that, or he was on Mad TV, like Jeff Goldblum with the Canadian prosthetics, and like that seems like the dream is just to be able to. But also, I guess for a voice actor being faceless or getting to wear like a digital version of a character is kind of the dream, where it's like, oh,
did you hear that?
I don't have to actually physically be that character.
You got deepfakes now.
There'll be no escape for the princess this time.
One of the apps that I used for that, I was like, oh, this is awesome. I could send my friends jokey things as like like a bad Robert Downey Jr. impression, and it got like randomly deleted, and I was like, that's probably for the best. At least to my friends, like, hello guys, it's Robert Downey Jr. Like, it's the worst Robert Downey Jr. impression you've ever heard. And like the joke is that he can't say his own name, or it's like, it's me, it's Ruby Dibby Jr. And so they get one at me like 3 a.m. like, I'm just eating ice cream. What are you thinking about right now? Like, it was terrible, but because the face was so good, it sold the whole thing.
No, they will be scanning them for life forms.
I noticed that too. I thought
Janice from the Muppets. Sorry,
I thought the game sound. Oh, I thought the game sound was a bit too high. Yeah, game.
We play.
There it is. I was looking at the.
I was looking at us.
So wait, how do I turn the game sound down?
I don't know.
That's a complicated issue.
Can
I just do it in the settings?
You might be able to
game?
do it in game.
Yeah,
you could do it in
game. Have you played it, AJ?
I have. I've played through New Hope a couple times.
And all the bits on you.
What was that? Oh yeah, just fast forward to get to me.
Yeah, you need to run through this as fast as you possibly can. We don't care about her needing Obi-Wan Kenobi because he's our only hope.
We don't need to hear it. Do you guys know Shelby Young is another voice actor? She does Leia, and her and I became friends because of Han and Leia. We met on a job we met on Forces of Destiny, and then we became friends through that, which is super weird. I mean, I guess that makes sense, but it's always weird. Like, we met as Han and Leia. Like, that seems so surreal.
That sounds so cosplay.
It's like Minnie Mouse and Mickey Mouse getting married.
I desperately want you guys to start going out so that she can be like, I love you, and you can go, I know.
Oh, you go to, so that's the punch. Okay, got you.
I mean,
my girlfriend was really worried. When I met her, she was like, you're going to marry her. I was like, I'm not going to marry Shelby, don't worry. She's like, it's too good of a story. I'm like, it's not.
That's not enough for a strong relationship.
Yeah, exactly. Just built on that.
Yeah. So why'd you guys get married? Really?
Oh, shit, sorry.
Leia knows Kung Fu.
Yeah, Leia's smashing.
I'm surprised they didn't like just retcon the opening of A New Hope with the ending of Rogue One. Like, they should have just started this with, like, Vader like tearing down the door and going through the alleyway and like, wow.
Just wait. It might. It does.
Oh, okay.
You never know. It does. Lucas. He does what he wants.
I will say it does intersect.
Okay. Oh, nice.
How do I do my combos again?
It tells you, I think. I don't know what to say. Somebody tell me.
Sound. L2, there you go.
Hey, you got it. So, like...
there you go. How long till we see Han again?
It's as per the story. You get through this bit, and then you meet Luke, and Luke's like, wait.
It's a ways.
And who's this guy again? This dude in the suit?
Dude in the suit.
Come on,
I thought you were serious.
Come on.
What are you talking about?
Ambassador. Who played Darth?
Do you do a good Vader?
The guy who does Matt Sloan. He's the guy who does Darth Vader. He did a YouTube series years ago called Chad Vader, and then Lucasfilm heard it and were like, "That's really good." So they hired him.
Wow.
Bring up people and do impressions at them.
That's great. Well, I think there's also people have heard that, so there's a wealth of that kind of stuff, and people are like, "Look at me," So it has to be through the right.
Yeah.
I think so much of this is a combination of like being a decent human being to talk to, plus having the talent. Like, you have to be someone that people just want to be around, especially with voiceover, where it's like,
especially in this world.
Yeah, you're in an airproof room, or soundproof room. There's no air in the room.
You have to be really fast at your impression.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like that's the cool thing. Like I've had friends that are like, I want to get into voiceover. I'm like, it's weird. Like you have to be kind of like super lucky, but also good. And then but then once you're kind of in, everybody's like, it's a little team. So you probably have a better chance of sustaining something if you're a decent human being, because they just really, more than anything, like working with decent humans.
Right. You hope. You hope people are like, I like being around that person.
More like as in film and TV, I find that they don't care as much. They're sort of like, yeah, but it gets the job done. I don't care about the cost.
Right.
Whereas like, I don't know. I've always found that this has been like, I don't know. They're just like my first Star Wars experience. I like auditioned. I had a coffee with this person, and they were like, "Well, what kind of stuff do you do?" I'm like, I mean, I don't do it good anyway. Like, I mean, my mouth makes different sounds. And she's like, "Oh, what kind of stuff do you do?" I was like, "Okay, apparently do that." Like I just like here's a bunch of grab bag of things that I sound like.
Right.
Like, cool. All right. Great. Thanks. All right, what else is going on? And I was like, yeah, okay. And then didn't hear anything for like 3 years, and then we just got rung up one day, and they were like, hey, do you want to play this Stormtrooper? I'm like, I need to what's he sound like? Doesn't matter, it's fine. Come on in. I was like, real? Like, okay, great. That sounds awesome. And then then in the booth, I'm like, so is he English? They're like, nah, I don't think so. Well, what else you got? I'm like, oh, this. They're like, yeah, that one's good. I was like, this is the best job ever.
That's great. That's so
I love
fun.
this job.
Playing a Stormtrooper is like the coolest random, like, oh, I'm a Storm. I don't know why I geek out over like the Stormtroopers whenever you get to do one of those guys.
Oh, bro, I got to be, they were like, you want to see a Stormtrooper? You're the only bold student Stormtrooper in Star Wars history. I was like, oh, wow. I don't know how to think.
That's amazing.
Oh, dude, so cool.
I'm gonna go
Sorry,
back.
you're over there trying to figure this game out, and we're talking about. We're like, yeah.
Yeah, well, you got to feel the Todd works himself out. You got to feel
We're
the
gonna go work it out.
puzzle.
Get up to Han Solo, the man. Oh, jump it! Oh, what? I did jump, you fool.
Mate, okay. There you go. Look, it's telling you where to go.
Nah, I'm doing shit. I'm doing shit. That's electric.
What
do we gotta do here again?
Get the Han Solo. That's the only thing I want to do right now. Oh, look at you! You beat the system, and then they wouldn't let you. That's rough. Cool stuff.
L1.
It's crazy to me how long. I feel like we waited for this game for. I mean, we did. It.
Yes.
When
This
did you
game.
start recording?
I want to say like 4 years ago. Maybe it was 3 years ago.
4 years ago?
It's either 3 or 4 years ago. Either way, it was. I think because the pandemic happened, the like time dilation and my perception of time is like way off.
1975.
Yeah, exactly. So it's basically the way I keep thinking of it is it's like you recorded something at the beginning of freshman year in college, and then like you finally get to see it senior year, and it's like
Wow,
what
so
it
feels like that long ago since you did this.
Yeah,
It's take a long time.
Insane.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, this was also delayed because it's a massive game. I think even when it was supposed to come out, like, as far as I understand, like in 2019, I think when it was supposed to come out, like, they hadn't even seen the last film yet. So I was like, how are you guys going to handle this? Like, is there going to be a DLC with The Last Jedi and stuff? And I don't know how they worked that out internally, but it sounds like they had to do a lot of work post its actual, supposed release date. So I'm glad they took their time. But as an actor, you're like, oh, please release it.
Totally. This is like my hopes and livelihood is resting on this going well.
When was the last time you actually did voice work on it?
I see sometime in maybe late 2020, maybe 2020, early 2021, because it was probably 2021 because they had me come in to do pickups for older Han for episode 9. So I had to come in and do just little grunts and things. So it wasn't anything crazy. And then I also did like like one of the Sith troopers that are in the last movie. So it's just
how
like,
many characters have you got in this?
This I think I only have 2, maybe 3. I'm not sure. I did a Jawa in one of the Lego Star Wars, one of the Christmas specials. I was like, you really want me to do this? And it's literally just me going, and then they like raised the pitch, and I was like, don't you have a library of this already? So I was very surprised they wanted that. But I'm credited, even if they went with the library, it says like LoCascio, Jawa.
That's
I was like,
professional
nice.
Jawa.
Yeah.
No sand people, no nothing like that. I mean, there's a lot of fun characters.
So many. Yeah, I know Shelby, who's Leia, does a bunch of Ewoks, which is really funny. Just like
Really?
like all their weird. Yeah, I was like, that's great that you get to do that. Like, what a weird. You go in and typically you don't know. I mean, guys know how it is. Where if you're, you go into a voice thing, like, oh, also you're going to be playing this thing, and you're like, what does that sound like? And they're like, we don't know. It's like, okay.
The answer to that for me was always the Australian version of whatever you're doing. It's like, this guy's a pirate, but he's like, what would an Australian sound like? I'm like, oh, come on, no, let me do something more than that. I was like, let me work a little harder than that. And they're like, no, I was like, okay, mate, sure, he's just gonna be this guy. And like, that's perfect. I'm like, oh,
perfect, we love him.
That's
it's so hard to break, especially when people, or there's like my friend Brendan Hay, who directs Gremlins. I'm so used to doing the same voices for him that I find that I can never mentally get out of those same 4 voices. So like, even though I'll go do another session and I'll be like, why didn't I do those other voices for Brendan when he asked for, like, can you do the guy, the shop clerk or whatever it is? I immediately go back to, we worked on another show together, the first Crude series that came out. And so I'm only ever doing those voices in my head for him, and I can't escape it. I don't know why that is, but yeah, when I'm put on the spot, people are like, do a voice. I'm like,
but that's like comedians where like, be funny, and you're like, oh, thanks.
Yeah, it's like, can you give me a direction?
Yeah, totally. What do you prefer doing, like existing properties, people, stuff like that, or do you have more fun thinking up something brand new?
Depends. I mean, everything is an existing property now, it feels like. Like,
yeah, but would you rather be in Star Wars going, hey, do you do a really good Lando Calrissian? Probably not think it should. But,
no.
But, like, would you rather do something, like, I do a Kylo Ren, or would you rather go, we've got this new guy called Slappy Doobabs, and we want you to do a voice, think of something.
I mean, I guess because I'm a masochist, I want to do the voice match stuff, because it's like...
You want to be right.
Yeah, exactly. There's a fun to that where it's like,
amazing.
To me, it's like humming a sound. Like if you hear a sound and then you hum it or a note, and you know what I mean. Like, or if you hear someone, every once in a while, I hear someone like in the grocery store, and I have to repeat it back. Like at the exact cadence. There's like a fun to that, or a song, like a song that and you're hitting those notes again. Like, there's a joy in getting to hit the notes that Michael J. Fox or Harrison Ford or Tom Holland or Chris Pratt or whoever it is, like getting to hit those notes I find like very exhilarating. So for me, I do like doing these kinds of things, just doing new iterations of it. But I mean, yeah, there is a surprisingly few amount of original characters out there right now. So I would love to do more of those, but they are far and few between right now because there's money to be made with pre-existing IP.
I mean, it's good if you have a knack and a gift for doing that stuff. It's nice.
If only I knew someone.
Those talentless hacks that have to do original characters that don't know how to
Yeah, they could just do whatever they want. That's easy.
Yeah.
So this guy, find the design.
There you go, Todd. Look at that. You're all good. Look
at that. But now I'm stuck. Now I'm stuck. I don't know what to do now.
You're not. It's a trap. It's a trap. Put him in the corner.
Put him in the corner?
You stick. Go at the front. Go at the front of him. Look in front. Look at him. Look him in the eyes. Look him in the squid hole.
I've got to grab it that way. Jeez. I'm trying to grab it from the back, I
forgot I can monitor, or not monitor, but look at comments, and I just looked over and it says, everything is an existing property now, it feels like. AJ LoCascio, 2022.
Yeah.
I'm like, great.
Jokes on him, he's dead. I just like Mike for this ridiculous then you jump on it.
Jump crap, they're coming. Shut the hell up. Everyone's dead. Pop, 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 pop. There,
you're figuring it out. You're killing it.
Very good.
Just gotta pop that helmet off.
Like, I guess it was like the process of making this was like do the movie, right?
Yeah, it was wild. I mean, it's crazy to me too. Because we recorded all the dialogue from the movies. So they didn't tell me what this was. Like when I went in, I had no idea what I was doing. I had a vague idea that it might be Harrison Ford related, but like
I didn't know what character you were going for.
No, I had no idea. So
wait,
I went.
Explain that process. Like what your agent just goes, you're going in for a mystery.
Yeah, basically. They were like, it's they were sort of like, we think it's Han Solo, we're not 100% sure. And I was like,
was it a fun name like
It did have a name, but I don't think I'm allowed to say
no,
it.
No, you definitely not.
It was like a silly character name where I was like...
definitely don't say it. But like, no, like, all the ones I've done always have some name where you're like, what is this?
Yeah. It's like Bubble Master or something. And you're
yeah, sweet.
For this one specifically, it was a character from another property, so I was very confused.
No, don't do it.
I won't say it, but yeah, I was like, what? So then when they, and also his name wasn't the name, as far as I remember, it wasn't Han, it was something else. So I was like,
like Jack or something.
Super confused. But they wanted something that was like, I know in Forces of Destiny, they were like, we want someone that's Harrison Ford-like. And I was like, do you want Harrison Ford or not? And so my agent was like, just do Harrison Ford. I was like, okay. So yeah, when I went in, I was like, what is this? You know, like I have no idea. And they were a little hesitant to tell me. But then eventually they like slapped down the script and I was like, this is just all the dialogue from the movies. What's happening here?
There's only so much you can do, especially in that. If it's not an original story, you're like, I don't want to be that guy, but like, if this isn't Star Wars, then you're gonna have a lawsuit.
Yeah, you guys are gonna have issues. Yeah, it was very weird. But they eventually cracked. Same with that game Squadrons that I did. I did the Star Wars game where you're like a pilot flying around and.
Oh yeah.
Even halfway through the session, I was like, guys, this is just tell me it's Star Wars. I know we just said Ronto rap. Like like there's specific things where I'm like, this has got to be Star Wars. There's no way this is Top Gun or. But yeah, I was surprised. So you can. I wish I had known because I would have listened to the dialogue like more incessantly. But maybe that's a good thing that I didn't because I probably would have made myself crazy over it. But yeah, they just slapped down the script and then we recorded to my, as far as I remember, every line Han says in the trilogy.
Wow.
And then so obviously every line isn't in there, but they can use it in ways where they can iterate on it or turn it into a joke, which is there's been some surprising moments where I'm like, oh, that's a line from the movie, but they turned it into something else.
Wow.
It's
because
pretty
they're very
weird.
a lot of it's very clever in terms of the way that they've taken their liberties with the kind of the text of the movie.
Yeah.
Like all of this stuff where they just kind of winging it a bit, but it's great.
It's crazy to me that you couldn't. I used to dream as a kid, like, wow, imagine if there was like a PlayStation 1 game that was all the Star Wars games, or like basically you played through the trilogy. Yeah, it'd be insane. But you can't. I feel like you couldn't do it. Really, it would be weird.
I mean, they tried. There's like Super Star Wars and different things, but they're like
right.
Adjacent and like I love like X-Wing versus TIE Fighter and TIE Fighter.
Right. Yeah. Same.
They're amazing.
But like this to me feels like the closest you can get because it's not taking itself seriously. It's having fun, but yet you're still enjoying the environments and the music and the characters. So it's like this is the perfect balance of all those things.
It gives you something fresh. Like I think the coolest thing about it is it's like it's exactly Star Wars literally, but it also I don't know. It's like it's that you play in that world and have some fun with it, which is kind of exceptional.
Right. Yeah. Totally. It's great.
Yeah, like it gives you like it's almost like a behind-the-scenes tour of Star Wars.
Yeah,
but it still has all the nuances and comedy.
Things where he's just rocking out to some, like it's just so fun.
Well, that comedy stuff of Lego too, which just they always nail that.
Yeah, they've really worked out their brand in terms.
They have.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So much fun. Yeah, that's so great.
How long till I get out into my big boy Han?
Again, you gotta what is it? You gotta what happens?
You gotta crash land on the. You gotta get into the pod behind you somewhere.
They kind of skipped past the whole Jawa section. I think. Like I think they kind of just go and then you find C-3PO and R2 and it's real good. And then he has to hack it or something like that. Yeah. So
yeah,
then
R2.
You do a good. He's doing good.
Luke.
Yeah, Mark Hamill.
I've done I have a little reel that I've done before where I'm like, God, the guy who does it in this is fantastic.
Yeah.
David Menken, his name is.
Oh wow. Cool,
he's awesome. But what's the line I always do? I was gonna go to Tashi Station to pick up some power converters. That's the one that's always stuck in my head because he says it in such a. He sounds like Miss Piggy or something. Power converters.
How do I rotate this? Isn't that not the position?
It says at the bottom. You push X and confirm it, and then you go to another circle. You got this, Todd.
Oh, so I've got that one.
You have to go out to the other circle, the wider circle. Then it's
Yeah, how do I go to the wider circle? That's my question.
Is it left stick? You can use left stick to change which circle you're in, maybe? I don't know, mate.
Oh, there you go.
The instructions are literally at the bottom of the screen.
You literally nailed it. Thank you, Liam. You pro gamer. Alright, let's go. Knock on it. Here we go. We're crashing. Are we going in our pod?
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah, mate. You got it.
I keep reminding myself when I can't get past something, I'm like, this is a game for children. And I'm like trying to do I'm doing the same thing you're doing where I'm like, I can't figure out how to do this.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Help me, Obi-Wan. You're my only hope. Unfortunately, these robots
I feel like as a child, I had way more patience though. Like I would sit there for however long.
Oh, yeah, I know.
My friends, see, even that's hilarious. But no, my friends trying to get me to play Elden Ring and all those Dark Souls games. As a kid, I would have done that for sure, and I just don't do it right now.
Yeah, I'm a big like Dark Souls FromSoft fan. So for me, I'll sit there and just get my ass kicked for weeks and weeks and weeks, and I suffer through all of them and love them dearly. But it's so hard to get like I'm playing through Elden Ring now, and I'm like, I don't love this. You know, like this is very masochistic.
Well, because I got to be in that the Star Wars Fallen Order game, which is great. It's like the light version of Dark Souls.
Right, totally.
And it's terrific.
Great.
But I can because like you get a reward if you beat a guy, you get like a cutscene and you get like some more Star Wars lore and you get a whole thing going on.
Right, yeah.
But like in Elden Ring, I'm like, oh my, thank God, I got 7 hours. I finally beat this boss. What happens now? He evaporates. Cool. Get this thing. That's fun. What else?
That's it. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
that's all you get.
No other things are gonna happen. They're just gonna trudge through to the next boss in the wilderness. Okay.
Yeah, something else is gonna kick your ass. That's what happens.
Yeah, the gift is that you get to have another thing that's even harder to smash the crap out of you. I don't see why we do this.
Yep, that's kind of how it is. I think of it as a huge metaphor for life. Where
it's absolutely. And then the game's finished. Question your choices.
Ooh. Yep, exactly. I always think of it like in Dark Souls, where it's like, oh, finally, I figured out how to solve poison. Like, I can finally progress to the next level, and then the next level's like, now you're cursed, and you're like, ugh. And then you're like, all right, I figured out how to be cursed. Like, it's cool. It's like, now madness is an issue. And you're like, so you have to keep up.
Yeah, it's just bad things after bad things.
Yeah.
I feel like you got so angry you almost went Han Solo. Cursed.
Well, my little friend, you got something.
Hey, blue milk.
I gotta have this light in here. I have this fancy ring light that I forgot.
Ooh, yeah.
Look,
get that on, hey?
What's this?
Now I'm slightly more illuminated.
More attractive.
New AJ.
You can see all the sweat now.
Yeah, you look like you're warm. Again, like I don't want you to like pass out.
We'll get to Han and then I'll hang around for a bit and then maybe I'll dip out because it is 100 degrees in here.
Oh, hydrate. You gotta hydrate. I got a laptop on my feet. My legs are gonna like have permanent like 3rd-degree burn.
Watch me speed run this. Speed running to Han. What do I do? What do I do?
I mean, you aren't that far now. Like you are,
That little droid's gonna cost me a lot of trouble.
All right, we go.
I mean, Anthony Daniels still recording all his dialogue, right?
He sounds great. Yeah. Still recording it.
How do I pull out the lightsaber?
What does it say for? What was that?
There's a droid on the scanner.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's gonna be really hard. You can switch. No, switch to Luke. Luke doesn't have a lightsaber at this point. You know.
Kangaroo.
Yeah.
That looks like a kangaroo.
Yeah, there you go. Definitely, yeah.
Where am I going? Someone tell me what to do. Here we go. That looks like
follow the little hazard sign, right? Is that it?
Pim, urgent message. Yeah.
Find R2.
The little caution sign.
Find R2.
Oh, dude, shoot that wombat.
I had a friend who does this really good R2 screaming. It's very.
That's very specific.
Very unique and maybe too specific to get a career out of it. It's very good.
Oh, shit.
Urgent.
Yeah, it is like a full-on that Womp Rat or whatever. It's like,
yeah. That's cute. Have we ever seen Womp Rats before? Those have got to be somewhere in the canon.
They are. No, they're. What did I see a Womp Rat in? It was something I played recently.
Yeah,
you know what it is in?
Those are Womp Rats. Because isn't this Beggar's Canyon? You're like entering Beggar's Canyon right now, right? Isn't that where you're at? No, I don't know.
I love that they've still got those old school guns, the Lego guns on these dudes. That you get with the pirate ship and everything.
Oh yeah.
The Jet Blaster. That's the
No, these guys, those Canyon dudes.
Tusken Raiders.
Sure that the Hello there. What a low-key racist. All in one piece. Anyway,
low-key racist.
I'm just like, I don't know.
I mean, you know, like Boba Fett series.
Oh, here we go.
Redeemed him, right?
Yeah, they're nice. They're nice folk.
Yeah,
they're just misunderstood. There you go.
There you go. Okay, so you got Obi-Wan.
Oh, sorry.
We got Obi-Wan. We're getting close.
I was excited a week for watching Obi-Wan.
Oh, well, Jesus. You got to tell me if that's going to hurt.
I mean, listen, is he Obi-Wan is he the greatest Jedi of this age, right? I mean, if you think about it, he pretty much
that time. Well, we don't know how many people are alive. Is from Fallen Order, or all those people alive?
I mean, there's rumors that there's going to be like a Cal Kestis or something.
Yeah, like a cameo, Cal Kestis cameo, or some sort of tie-in.
I would imagine. If Cam gets to be in that, it also gives me hope that for some reason, at some point in the future, they'll put my character in there.
Well, and Fallen Order is canon, so I mean, it's all supposed to kind of.
Oh no, I exist in the Star Wars universe, which is ridiculous.
That's pretty
I mean,
crazy.
what part of you? I mean, you can sympathize. You can relate to this, AJ, and like, what part of the 10-year-old you can actually fathom that you exist in the Star Wars universe?
Yes.
When you're ready.
None of it.
It's impossible, right?
You can't fathom it. There's no part of your brain. I think that's why like most celebrities go crazy is because humans aren't meant to be famous. Like we're not meant to process that kind of information. And it's the same thing with Star Wars, like being like, yeah, I'm involved in Star Wars. It's like, who's telling me this lie? Like I don't like the fact that your face and body is in Star Wars is insane. You know, like you are canonically part of it.
It's ridiculous.
that is wild when you really break it down like that. Always tapping into the younger self.
Right.
Yeah, trying to explain it to your kid self, being like, listen, if you play your cards right.
Dude.
They even do that bit. That's great. It's so good.
Yeah. I love the popcorn.
It's popcorn.
It's so
I love that he's like, can you tell me about my father? And his face is like,
yeah.
Gotta get home. It's late. I'm in for it as it is.
Liam, how did you get into Fall? Was it just a normal audition, or what was your?
That was one of you like you had. It was like so I went for this thing with its crazy name, and I'd actually auditioned for the director before for something else, which I got and then got canceled. And then he was like, "Oh yeah, this one." I'm like, "So what am I doing here?" He's like, "Well, actually, you're an old man." I'm like, "What? Why am I here?" He's like, "Well, you know, so this is like, you know, you've got like, this can be your cane." I was like, "Cane? What are you talking about?" And you know what? Okay, what? And so like, we just kind of workshopped basically everything I prepared, given the audition I had. We were just like, let's throw all that away and figure out what this is. And then, so we did this. And then, like, I got it, which was amazing. And then I didn't hear anything for like 7 or 8 months.
Oh my god!
Yeah. You're like, okay. I mean, we signed a contract, not yet. Okay, but they still want to do it. Okay, that's cool. Anyway, so like all this stuff happened, and then they're like, well, you got to go in for the read. There's a read through.
Do I want to travel here, by the way?
What's that?
I think so. Right?
Travel to.
You want to go to? Is it? Hang on, wait.
You want to go to Obi-Wan's house?
My glasses.
Old Ben's hut.
I think we are. Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
So we say yes.
Wow, that's quite a jump.
Mighty fine jump.
Yeah, go to Mos Eisley. Yeah.
But yeah, and then it was like I had the read through, so I go up to the lot and to the place that they were doing the read through, and come in, and then the head of the studio or whatever, like one of the top brass from the studio comes out. He's like, "Hey man, so great to have you on board." I'm like, "All right, friend, that's great." And he's like, "So you know what you're doing, right?" I'm like, "No, because it's like a video game, and they don't tell you anything." And they're like, "It's Star Wars, man." I'm like, "What? You're in Star Wars. You're a Star Wars game. No one told you it's a Star Wars. No, nobody's told me it's a Star Wars game. What are you talking about?" They're like, "You're a Jedi." I'm like, "What? Like, well, it's like, well, you know, I mean, sort of a Jedi." I'm like, "Wait, hang on, stop talking." And I was just like, "What are you talking about? Like, I'm not prepared for this." Yeah. like it's so yeah. They're like, you're gonna be like kind of not a Sith, not a Jedi, kind of Jedi type expert, master type. Like, okay, sure. Okay, what? like I still can't really process it. But it was, and then you're like, here's everybody, welcome to the read-through. And you're like, oh, cool. I'm so cool. I'm so okay with this. Yeah. Then you sort of like, now I'm reading all my lines in a very different way now.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's just very crazy.
That's crazy. It's so crazy how secretive it is, and I mean, would it be better to know? I don't. Sometimes no. I'd rather not.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I auditioned for the PlayStation Spider-Man game years ago, the one that like Yuri Lowenthal's Spidey in, and I didn't know what the hell it was. Like I just memorized the lines, and so I went in and did it as kind of, at the time they pitched it sort of like a younger, like Tom Holland, like a kid.
Yeah.
And then they were like, you know what this is, right? This was actually right before we read, and I was like, no, I have no idea what this is. They're like, it's Spider-Man. It's Peter Parker. You didn't figure that out? And I was like, no! And so then I went into the audition just like grinning ear to ear, like, this is Spider-Man. And like they had a guy dressed up, or not dressed up, but a guy playing like Green Goblin who had to like pick me up and choke me. And I was like, this is Spider-Man.
Oh,
like the whole time I was losing. I mean, if anything, I didn't get it because I knew. I mean, they were gonna go with Yuri no matter what, because he was, like he was in their other game and he nailed it. But the whole time I felt like when Eddie Murphy and Bowfinger, where he's like really excited, where he's like, yeah, this is great. Like they're like, no, you're sad, and I was like, yeah, I'm sad. I was just so excited to be there.
I don't know what to do here.
This is right. Everything you're doing.
Oh, got you.
Canon.
Mind tricks. Yep.
It's canon.
Wow, did the wrong thing.
I think you need to be Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Influence.
We got some soup from Hamo Sart.
Hamo Zart. Yes, Hamo. Thanks for the soup, mate. You legend. Morning, Ness.
Yes.
Welcome to the stream.
Drew. It's okay.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know what that is.
Hamo Zart.
Hamo Zart.
We're so close to Todd.
That's cool.
We are so close to Han Solo.
What now? I've done mind tricks, so what am I doing?
Move the Jedi.
Oh, move old mate to go. Hello. Okay, got you. Oh, let them in. All good. Look how good I am at these codes. I'm awesome. Boom, I just hacked that. First go.
Also amazing.
You can mount R2. Amazing.
I actually forgot it. Is that right?
Walk over there. Walk over there. There you go.
Yeah, influence
there
him.
you go.
Make him do dirty things.
There you go.
Make him do naughty things.
Watch this. Use my staff, my sword, my blade.
Did it.
Take off. He has to take off his helmet, like
he's just chugging more blue milk.
Mandalorian, in order to access that terminal.
Let's make our way to that cantina.
I didn't understand that, but I'm just gonna let that one slide.
I know, right? I think we all kind of were like, what's happening right now?
Is he in the database? Yeah, like.
What was the first thing you did in the game? Do you remember?
Me? I think it was, and this is why every time I've played through this, I'm like, oh, I could have done a better job. Is I do the like Han Solo, like I just said like the first line.
In the cantina?
Yeah, and so I was like, oh God, please give me time to warm up. Like I had no idea that that's what I was going to be doing. So yeah, that's as far as I remember. I think that was the first thing I've done.
Where we are.
We're so close.
This is you, yeah? That guy with the horns?
That was it.
Nice.
Horn Solo.
Great. Hey, good work on that, man. Wait, where are you? Where's your head? Are you in here?
He's in a booth.
You gotta talk to Chewbacca, I think, or someone.
Yeah, talk to Chewbacca. Ignore Greedo.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't think does Han shoot first in this? I don't remember.
Oh, please.
Well, you'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, no, don't comment. I know what you're
Don't go on that. Oh,
hey,
here we go.
I know a lot of times they have you guys like just do like other voices for like random characters. Was that the case in this game? Like when they were just like, hey, read this line of this character, random NPC.
The only one I remember is I did a Sith trooper in the last movie, but for this one, I don't remember if I did anything for the original trilogy because there was so much Han to do.
Yeah.
That like. I mean, maybe? I don't remember. But for like the Lego specials and stuff, they're always like, can you also be a Wookiee? And, you know.
Yeah. They're kind of like, wow, we have you here.
Yeah, do this random.
Well, no, legally it's
yeah, I think they can only do 4 and then they have to pay you more, so.
We do it, yeah. You gotta seize the guy with the nuts, the guy with the face nuts.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, take him out. Yeah, cut off. You have to cut off that one guy's arm.
I don't want to be that guy, but I feel like in this particular universe, you wouldn't want to have your lightsaber shown in any reason in any way.
Excited.
I feel like you just get a
no. Well, at this point,
there we go.
Oh, look.
To the Alderaan system.
Yes, indeed. If it's a fast ship.
Great.
Way to address
What's the cargo?
Great.
Only passengers.
Hit him in the head.
Myself,
Good.
the boy, 2 droids,
Yeah.
and no questions asked.
Okay, you guys
I
got
can't hear it.
yourselves a
Can
ship.
you? Is that?
We'll leave as soon as you're ready. Docking bay 94.
Just do it now. We don't need. We don't.
She's
Where we go,
fast
we don't
enough
need
for me,
roads.
old man. Yeah. How do I? I'll do it all wrong.
There's a volume on the bottom of the screen. You can turn it
Oh,
on.
that's fine. I've heard it.
Yeah.
Do you want me to turn? Wait.
No, it's okay.
No, you're
No.
good, Todd.
94.
Oh, because I was going to say I could even just turn up the dialogue.
It's done now. We did it.
We did it. Congrats. The fun stuff is the yelling when he's screaming and running around the Falcon is my favorite stuff. Is
Oh,
anytime
yeah.
Han's in duress or pissed off, that's my favorite Han to do because it's, like I was listening to.
You get off your plane.
Yeah,
All right.
like that guy's
Let's go
like I
find
was
the
listening to the
docking
Blade Runner, just as reference, like his voiceover that he did that was cut out of certain ones, and it's all just like. I went to the gas station. They didn't have gas. Like it's all just this. It's all so lazy, Like his like normal talking voice is not the most exciting thing in the world to do.
That's
but when
amazing.
he's angry, there's so much. There's so much to grab
better
onto.
angry.
Yeah.
Everything else is kind of disinterested and slow.
Yeah, that's when the gravel really comes out too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's so great.
He does that a lot as indie too. Like when he's indie, a lot of it's just like, yeah, like he's just that's the sounds and noises, and it's all at a very base level. With Han, at least he's kind of a little more playful.
Yeah.
But the thing I always think about is in Raiders when. And I think it's 80 yard, but he gives Marion a date, and she goes, "What's this?" And he goes, "It's a date. You eat him." And it sounds nothing like him. Like it's the weirdest choice to have made. Because if you just heard that and someone said, "What actor is that?" You go, "I have no idea."
No idea.
That is so funny because I every time I watch that scene, it just feels weird. And now that you mentioned that, that line, you're right, it stands out. It's interesting.
It's so. It's probably just him having fun. Which, from what I've heard about Blade Runner, it was the total opposite. Where he was mad that they were forcing him, like the studio was forcing him to do the voiceover, which is why it sounds like we got back and I don't know, there was 7 jelly beans. Like he's just listing things. Like he just sounds so tuned out. But it's really great for me when I'm listening to just his normal voice because
Awesome.
That's his normal medium, as opposed to him doing his gravelly like performance voice. It's,
yeah.
There's a lot to it. It's kind of a crazy thing to be so interested in, but it's.
No, I love the dynamic of it.
Well, I could tell you've done your homework. Like you could tell you really you've gone deep, into it. Which is awesome.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing too. Like when you find your, my friend who does the Jack Sparrow stuff described it as like a triangle where you find 3 things that an actor will do. And you can kind of go between that. But to me, like, so in other words, like, Harrison will do like a who's scruffy looking, like he goes, that's like a yawning voice. Or he'll do like a, there's this kind of whatever sound is, and he'll go, there's like these specific sounds, and so if you stay between those sounds, you can get a pretty decent Harrison Ford. But for me, it's like, there's so much I had to do for like this. That it's like I have to go way beyond that, like within that triangle you can do a decent impression, but like there's moments where I'll say something you would never say, and so I have to have reference in my head.
Yeah, but that's the cool thing, right? Where you get to like it's easy and not easy, but like it's fair enough to be like, hey, why does it have to be snakes or whatever? But then if they're like, we're now going to riff on that and do stuff that's like, you can't just go, oh, let me listen to something he says like that and just copy it. You have to be like, I wonder how he'd say it. He's angry, and he's kind of like, what kind of angry? He's going to be like the distance, not actually angry, like you said. Like he's ADRing it for the 4th time. And he wants to leave angry. So instead of being like furious and shouting, he's going to go, oh well, it's just like, he's going to be distracted about it. And you get to make those choices as a creative, and add to the legend to the guy himself. Kind of cool.
Yeah, it's great. It's like someone saying like sound like a saxophone, And you're like, okay, I kind of know what a saxophone sounds like. And a saxophone can make a lot of different noises. But when you go in and someone's like, play these notes you've never heard a saxophone play, you have to, at your foundation, know what that saxophone is. It's such a weird example, but like, like for Michael J. Fox, I know Han is closer to my normal voice now that I'm a bit older, whereas back then Michael J. Fox was closer. But like for him, there's a pinch and there's a certain amount of muscles that I'm using and strain, so that I always can feel that sort of whatever that is, that vocal strain. But with Han, he's all over the place.
I'm saying it's harder doing Han Solo, right? It's got
he's definitely got more that he does.
Kicks as well, right? He does so many strange things where you're like, why are you doing that?
Yeah, I always go back to him in Temple of Doom, where he's on the table and he's like freaking out because he just had the blood of Kali, and he's going, "Hurrah! Hurrah!" It's like such an interesting example of his weird voice and the sounds that he likes to make, or where his voice sits.
Yeah,
it's weird because he's so cool, but then sometimes he comes out with stuff
the
like
weirdest stuff.
Yeah.
Don't knock Temple of Doom, buddy. That shit's gold.
I love Temple of Doom.
It's great.
So good.
It's so good.
Where have I got to pull this? Oh, over there.
You got this, mate. You're all good.
So I'm now playing you, AJ.
I say let's get the Falcon off the ground.
Yeah. I gotta know, like, give me a real world situation where you were like, I'm using the Han Solo voice, or I'm using the Harrison Ford voice, like not, or to impress a girl or whatever.
It's definitely the other day. I had a bit of a thing where my landlord was avoiding me, and because there was something going on. There were squatters in the place next to us.
What?
And I saw them in the I was texting because we text random stuff all the time. We're like, hey, this is broken, whatever, and they just weren't responding. I was like, listen, if you don't do something about this, I'm gonna call someone. And no response. So I saw them in the the lobby, and they saw me, turned around, and I went, hey, there was kind of like a, listen, there's squatters in the room next door. Like I was like, if you don't do something about that, I'm gonna call someone. Like there was definitely a sense of like, well, I can use this. There's, but that hey, and they froze. I was like, there's a squatter. And they also had parrots. That was the funny thing, is I could hear parrots just screaming. And two of my friends had just moved out of there, and they're like, hey, can you take a look into our thing because it was open and see what's going on? Like someone else texted us and said that there was garbage and we don't want to get in trouble after we moved out. And I was like, okay, so I opened up the door, there's 2 parrots and trash everywhere. And I was like, guys, and so I texted them. They're like, okay, that wasn't us, as long as we don't get charged for whatever that is. And I was like, no, I'm pretty sure the owners of the building know. But anyway, it definitely comes out here and there. Like when my dogs are like about to touch a snake, or they're about to do something they shouldn't.
Hey,
I'm like, hey, there's.
That's amazing.
So it's all these voices. That's the thing, is they sort of infect your brain where you don't. You stop. The more you do it, the more it comes out. Like I remember once I was asking a girl out in high school, and I got so nervous. And I was just like, hey, would you like to go to the dance with me? It was just this like really pathetic Michael J. Fox, where it was so sad. But it happens. I mean, it comes out when I would drink in college. And
Tell me she said yes, though.
Yeah, right.
She did, and then canceled suspiciously later. So.
Oh, rude.
Yeah, she was like, actually, I have to wash my hair. And I was like,
it
was something like that. Yeah.
No, but then as long as it doesn't get weird, they're like, you always do the Michael J. Fox voice.
We did have that happen.
Now I bet you she's playing Lego Star Wars and regretting it, bro.
Yeah, right?
You know what I'm saying? Mel's thrown us some soup. Thank you, Mel. Pledge us 10 of those big smacko euros. Are they euros? That's a euro, right?
It's a pound, yeah, euro.
Mate, you're not asking what a euro looks like.
That's a euro. Oh, sorry, mate. Oh, shit. I just fucked up AJ.
That's fine.
I was just smashing hard for a second.
It's funny when you play a game as yourself, you're like, oh, I just blew myself up. Oh, I just died. Like, I mean, we say it about our characters regardless, but there's an extra level of crazy when it's your voice coming out.
Yeah, that's wild, hey.
Yeah.
It must trip you out watching it.
That's terrible.
Like when you both spoke at the same time.
Sorry, you go, Lee.
Todd. No, you please.
I was just going to say, it must just trip you out, like tapping onto what Liam said before about like you sitting here playing this game. Like this is a global phenomena game, and you're the guy. Like that constant reminder of hearing your own voice back. It's just sick. That's what I love about this world. It's so it just taps into all of your child dreams. I love it.
It's funny, like for me, and anytime I'm sitting on a very loud chair, by the way. I'm not farting, I promise. Anyway, or maybe I am. But for me, like it's such an intimate process, and same thing with like Voltron, where it's like it's me and 10 other people, you know, and so I don't think of it as having a life beyond us. Yeah. Oh my God, what just happened? So for Star Wars, it's hard for me to fathom that there's kids playing this this will be their Star Wars game, or there's people out there streaming it. Like, it's hard to believe that our voices are what's being heard. There's no place in my brain where I can understand it. I mean, Liam, there's digital scans of you, you know, half naked, fighting Cal Kestis currently. Yeah. Someone is playing this currently, or many hundreds of, like, that's so strange. There's no way to.
And the weird part where people will come up to you and be like, man, it was so hard to kill you. And I'm like, haha, I get that a lot.
It's funny when you said old man, that you were playing an old man, because I was like, I thought he was just premature gray, because it's like your young, handsome face with like a grayish, your young, hideous face.
Yeah, that's so true.
There you go. But he had a beard, right? Like a white beard?
Yeah, he was kind of,
he was well kept. He had a lot of back to, he took a lot of back to bats.
He might have tapped into some of that dark side.
Exactly.
Keep
some
you
of the
alive
spice.
Yeah. He's not in the dark side. Stop it. Don't
Is he a gray Jedi? Is that what the?
He's got his own thing. He's doing his own brand, all right?
I think when you start using Force Lightning, doesn't it automatically like?
He doesn't use Force. What are you talking about?
I thought he did.
That's Rey. Rey uses Force Lightning.
Yeah, of course. Palpatine.
It's just she can't help it. It's in her blood. So
she's obviously a anyway. Like let's not get it. I love the Star Wars universe.
I know, right? It sucks to like it's such a thing we all love so much that like you can't help but sometimes just have to razz on it a bit, just to kind of like make yourself.
There's nothing wrong with being Pat. Don't explode. Don't you? Thank you.
What have I got to do?
You have to get out. You have to go to the Falcon.
I just got to keep popping forward, don't I?
Oh wow!
No,
Solo's a badass. Look at that.
Why does he say Falcon? Why is that?
I don't know. I wonder what that. It's like hand versus on. Where it was like hand. I think that was just him being I always took that as him being a jerk, which I guess is what they did in Solo. Is he's just messing with him? But I don't know. I think also remember if this is just me screwing up or if this is a conscious choice. Because the whole time I remember being conscious of saying Falcon.
You killed Han Solo, Todd.
I think you got to take that elevator, go up to the top, and then do something weird, right?
Put this here, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, maybe that is to. But in the sequels, for some reason, I caught myself saying Falcon instead of Falcon, and I can't remember if I discussed it with Matt Wood, because there was some reference that Harrison Ford now says Falcon in the sequels instead of Falcon.
We had this discussion.
I don't remember, but I feel like maybe that was the reason, because I'm so self-conscious about saying Falcon instead of Falcon when we're doing this that I was like, wow, when I was playing through it, I was like, in the sequels, I was like, I'm saying Falcon, that's weird. And I thought like, because I know like for Shelby who did Leia, like there's moments where she's doing it British and then she takes that away after a certain scene because that's when Carrie Fisher stopped, so it's like there was a lot of that kind of thought.
Awesome.
Don't, oh man.
What? I just
my case might have been a screw up though.
Disney's intellectual property rights for the next 10 years. Correct.
Yeah, because we had that discussion I think only recently about Falcon and Falcon, right? I thought we said that on Get Good, where like one where, like, when you choose to make the choice, like where does Falcon and Falcon switch in and out?
I wouldn't be surprised if it was just a George Lucas thing, like it's Falcon, just him saying.
Yeah.
Falcon. Like he's so.
What to do?
I love watching anything with him talking about behind, especially young George Lucas, his like little particular things he would do were so funny, where he's like, he has this whole movie in his head. Like, could you imagine like the whole crew hated him. You know, like everyone thought this was going to be a crap movie, and he's like, "No, I promise, this is going to be brilliant. Please just listen to me." You know, like his frustration and him saying imagine saying to Harrison Ford, like, "No, it's not Falcon, it's Falcon," and him just being like, "All right," you know, like just
all right.
But I feel like, you know, it's before Harrison Ford's Harrison Ford, so maybe he's more like I'll build your house for you.
Yeah, I guess it's
yeah. Imagine the conversation with like Carrie Fisher. No. In space, they don't need bras. Just go with it.
George, like just
There you go, Todd. You got it.
Yeah, bro. It took me 19 minutes.
You got it.
Okay, almost finished. Almost finished this. I'm doing well.
Nah, the old deflector dish.
Can you imagine how much AJ will have lost in terms of like just waterway?
This isn't so bad as like there's definitely been days where it's like 110 out in LA and I'm in here doing a session where I'm like screaming or doing something.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
no, we're cool. Yeah, I can do another half hour.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. Especially during the pandemic where, I mean, it was like they were recording, because we recorded films, series, like all this stuff in just my crappy little closet booth. And it was like just drenched in sweat. Plus my Chihuahua likes to hang out in here with me and she radiates heat. So it's just like, just come out like a big...
to do a session with? She well behaved?
She just sits on, I have like a little blanket on the floor that she just sits there and goes to sleep. She just likes to be in the closet with me. So
that's amazing.
It's very cute. I haven't
going around the no.
What?
No.
How do I get up on this stupid Falcon? Falcon.
You got to defend Chewie, I think, from the snipers. Right?
Oh, do I have to do?
Yeah, you have to kill some of the snipers. I don't know if it's to your advantage.
How do I get my boy AJ on? Here we go. Let's get this sniper, bro.
Get Luke, get a blaster, and just
watch this.
Get it done.
Yep, that's some sniping shit.
What are you talking about?
Oh wow. Oh, so I should have stayed up there and popped fools.
Yes.
Right, I'm taking you up, AJ. I'm going up, bro. Let's go. Let's do a run.
Are you just going to snipe? That's right, you're all about stuff. It's not that kind of game. You can't really headshot in this game.
No, right?
No, I'm going up old school.
Call of Duty.
How do I get up there?
It does freak me out that you can shoot their helmets off and there's like real people underneath.
I know.
Like, there'll be like an old lady and you're like, oh. It's pretty wild.
Have you considered your decisions to
pop.
Following orders.
So you have to look in their eyes before you shoot.
Yeah.
The whites of their eyes.
This kid. Yeah, you like those apples? Let's go, baby.
There's got to be a way to get back up. I mean, otherwise they would have like.
There you go.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, he's gonna be dead.
Oh, what?
He's got to be dead.
Out. Oh my god!
This
that
chick.
guy just backed
Morning. Oh, you want some shit? You want some of this? Yeah, fuck. Let's go, AJ.
I mean,
oh, there you go. Now you can. There you go.
Look at his face.
I feel like they've nerfed Hand's blaster because normally, like, when Hand shoots somebody, they like, go like 5 flying, like 5.
Oh, it's pretty hectic.
It's modified.
It's so much stronger than the other ones.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Here we go. It's time.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Pop that fool. Body. On the run. Yes.
Another bar to the
thing. Punching in the head right now.
What have I got to do? What did he say?
I think you're just killing.
Get that ramp open.
It says we won't last much longer if we don't.
Do I have to go down to those ramps things there?
Don't make AJ give you ad-lib instructions.
Bro.
Don't listen to me. I don't remember what the game is.
Target acquired.
What happens in the game?
Let's go. I'm going down. Look at this. Looks like we're going to do this shit.
Again, you've got like a really good laughing, awkward...
You want some of these?
Console as well.
Yeah, you gotta fix something.
What was that?
I think the ramp.
That way that when he's kind of feeling like you know, like the
this ramp.
David Blaine or whatever, when the magic, he's doing the magic.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, I don't know. Get out of my house.
Get out of my house. Yeah, he doesn't get out. Yeah. That's some of my favorite. Like his confused little grunts are so fun.
His confused laughs. Please leave.
It's so great. He's got such a the choices he makes into how he communicates with the rest of the world is really something.
That's awesome.
It's because he's just super stoned old.
I love there's stories where Mark Hamill's like, he talks about his relationship with Harrison and how basically the person we see as the public is not the person that he is, and I love that. Like the idea that he's a goofball in behind closed doors with him and Carrie is adorable. I mean, considering how famous he is, I would want a defense mechanism like that too. Where like you see him on like Jimmy Kimmel, where he's like bored and angry, and it's like, yeah, this is an act because
But I feel like it's an act.
Yeah, it's totally an act. I think he wants us to know it's kind of an act. Like he's playing and we're playing, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, he's winking a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like when they're like, in the scene with the chair. It's the best.
Yeah.
Go, AJ.
Look at the smolder.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Look at that smolder.
That trip is so good.
All right, I think it's time.
They were the droids we were looking for.
There we go.
There we go. Oh,
hang on. Let's let him talk.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. That feels like a good place for me to take off my clothes and run through my apartment and get nice.
Looks like we're coming.
Oh, you didn't get to do like I got a few moves of my own.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I probably recorded it. It's somewhere in a Lucasfilm archive.
There you
go. He's heading for that small moon.
That's
there's those noises.
So
that was the Doom Temple of Doom sound. You just nailed it.
Is there a Temple of Doom sound? Did I make it? Oh, the
yeah.
I can't hear it on my end, so I just.
Win. There are alternatives to fighting.
So funny. He does.
That's
yeah.
great.
He does do that a little bit as Han, but it's much more of an indie thing, I think. Because he's always getting pushed and hurt, and
That's so good, man. Dude, the insights. Those are so good on board. That was gold.
I want
should we maybe let AJ get some fluids and maybe we can party it up?
Is that the last time? That's it,
for...
isn't it? Hang on, let me just I'll switch back to
You pause this.
Switching back to regular chat screen here. Nope, that's the intro. Bang. Oh wait, can I hear myself? We good?
Soft back.
Can you guys hear me?
That's
excellent. We're back. Look at that. We're back at the screen. That's how good the transition. That was smooth.
Beautiful.
Didn't even notice. AJ, dude, honestly, this was such a legit session. Thank you so much for taking the time to come in and chat to us, bro, and give us all the insight and a few little demo runs of the voice too. Because I know everyone as well. We do too. We always nerd out when we can actually hear the voices and.
It's actually my favorite thing in the whole world.
It's so good. It is one of my favorite nerd out things where you're just listening to the person do.
It's like a magic trick, though. It's like
it is.
Magic trick.
That's a funny way to describe. It's funny. I always think like, really, people like this, and then I'll watch some other actor do it, and I'm like, like I lose my mind. It's hard not to. Yeah, it's such a different.
Yeah. It's because it happens in front of your eyes, and you only relate it to something like post-production kind of manufactured, with the whole system. But then when it takes place in front of your eyes, like Liam said, it is almost like a magic trick, because it's happening live.
You're like hearing another person come out of somebody's mouth, and you're like, it's the disconnect in your mind that you're like, wait, how is that happening?
Yeah. No, totally. Yeah, I've definitely experienced that with other people where I was like, that's SpongeBob coming out of your face or whatever it is.
Totally.
It's so surreal.
Yeah. No, dude, thank you so much for being here, man. We really appreciate it. And thanks to the to everyone who stuck around, and I know we had to delay it a couple of weeks too to be able to stop Liam pooing out of his bum so we could get.
Why are we bringing that up? Why
you were pooing only out of your bum. Anything else would have been an issue.
Yeah.
If it wasn't coming out of there, I would have been more upset.
Yeah, that'd be hot.
Yeah.
We've got to work out as well. We'll get back to you guys. Someone asked what we're happening next week, so we're just trying to work out our schedule for Uncharted, and lock in our guests. So we're going to keep you guys posted. Drew, do you have any insight on that?
Otherwise, I'm going to buy an air conditioner for AJ and do more of it.
Yeah. Send him some ice water and a Gatorade. I don't have it. We maybe next week. We're still locking some things down. We do have guests confirmed for future episodes, but
yes,
we're trying to figure out episode 3.
AJ, we're also doing a thing like this, but for Uncharted, which is
nice.
Chatted. Wicked.
Chatted.
Which
Uncharted? The first one or
fourth one?
The fourth one, which I think is my favorite. The second one, actually, no, the second one's my favorite. Fourth one was fantastic, though.
Terrific.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people say. The second one.
The second one and the fourth,
probably the best, and fourth is probably second best. Close, but yeah.
Yeah,
AJ just making good choice after good choice.
Well, I won't stick around. You guys, thank you so much for having me. Bye, chat. Everyone in the chat, thank you for being here.
Yes.
Thank you guys.
And we're going to do a sign out here. I've got our outro ready. Thanks, guys, for being here.
You ready? You ready?
I'm ready, man. I've got that outro locked in.
He's doing so well so far this stream. You've done very well.
Thanks, AJ, for being here, you legend. Thanks, everyone, for watching. We'll be back next week, hopefully with our Uncharted continuation. Otherwise, we're going to bring some other heat. All right, we love you all. Outro inbound. See you, AJ. Thanks for being here, mate.
See you guys.